Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. Happy New Year. Happy January. Happy holidays. Happy Tres Leche Day. I think that's how it's pronounced.
Happy Space New Mexico 4th of July.
And a happy birthday, Brian, assuming anyone is listening to this named Brian and it's your birthday. It's that time of year again, which means we're doing our best and worst of 2023 podcast, one of the best podcasts we ever do on this channel. It's going to be just like all the other years, except this year it's going to be better.
And longer.
And longer.
Maybe. I hope not. Okay.
Yeah.
So. And there we go.
Yep, there we go.
So anyway, we're going to have just a quick review of the new to us stuff, the new stuff that came out in 2023 that we checked out, as well as some other like random segments that we're going to throw in. So just bear with us on this. It's going to be long, but we might cut it up a bit. That's what we always say, but that isn't always what happens.
And don't be afraid to put your thoughts in the comments either.
Right.
What did you? Yeah, we'll get into it.
Okay, day. So let's start. Let's start off on a downer.
The people we lost in 2023. This is a list of celebrities who died, who were somewhat important to us on varying degrees. And the main idea of this section is to kind of shed light on some lesser-known celebrities.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I didn't do a good job making the list this year, so there's not as many, but there's a few. And
yeah, just to kind of go into the lesser known thing, that's what I've been noticing lately. It's not very big names that have been passing away necessarily, but it's people you know. It's or names you've heard of.
Or even names you haven't heard of, but they did stuff that you have heard of that's impacted you and such.
Yeah. Let's just get a small one out of the way. Gaston Glock. He's the guy who invented the Glock pistol.
Oh, really?
He passed away at 94 and actually, that might have been this year.
Oh.
So 2024. But anyway, I'll probably forget about it by the time the 2024 in review podcast comes around. Or maybe it was back in December. I don't remember. I remember seeing the thing. It's like, oh. Okay.
I know there's been a lot of new deaths this year coming out. You can't see this. I did quotation marks when I said that. But a lot of them is people that have died last year that they've just publicly announced that they've died.
Oh, crap.
Yeah. So there's a good chance Mr. Glock actually did die last year, which is 2023. So it works.
Yeah. He was 94. He's probably the oldest person on this list.
Yeah. Mr. Brian Ansell. He was one of the co-creators of Warhammer, which I like. I think he was pretty inspirational when it came to the 40,000 stuff, because I know the games he worked on before Warhammer were all sci-fi stuff. So that's too bad.
Kind of an obvious one, or one that you should, if you've watched our, it was
just one of our Scramble casts.
Yeah, I forget if it was the second or third off the top of my head. No, it was actually it's probably the last one, the latest one. Ray Stevenson, passed away at the age of 58. Still kind of vague what he, how he passed away. Obviously something health related. May have been an accident. They haven't disclosed it yet. I don't want to speculate, but yeah, you'll know him as the Punisher in Punisher Warzone.
He plays as one of the main antagonists in the new Ahsoka show. He's the main antagonist in RRR. I feel bad because I feel like I didn't know about this guy too well until recently.
Yeah.
He's Volstagg in the Thor movies.
That is right.
Okay,
yes.
Cool.
And then, what's another big one? He was the Australian guy and the other guys. Not that we should hold that against him, even though I do kind of enjoy that movie slightly. But there's another really big one. He was in HBO's Rome.
That's right. Yeah.
I forget what a historical figure he portrayed, but I haven't watched that show, so I guess it's not as important.
So it's super sad because I feel like he was just starting to get more popular, and now he's gone.
Yeah. Another one I gotta mention because this was also in a Scramble cast. Sam Neill. cancer.
Yeah.
The real thing we should probably be mourning over is my bad joke that I made about it, or that fortunately Robbie did not make into the title for the for that Scramble cast, the whole Tuesdays with Sammy thing. I don't know.
I came close.
Yeah.
I'm going to mispronounce this name, I think, but Andre Braugher. Brower.
Okay.
He played as the police chief in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
That guy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which is too bad because he was one of the best parts of that show. I mean, I know the show's been canceled for a while now, but
that's unfortunate.
He was cool.
Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah.
Dang, that was a horrible that was a horrible week. Like, my family and I were getting ready to, like, it was like Labor Day when that came out, or that weekend. We were like getting ready to have like a week off, and that's what started it. And that week went downhill. Not maybe like the worst things in the world, but things happened. But yeah, Jimmy Buffett. I kind of enjoy his music. It's like, I don't know, easy listening, like island lifestyle type stuff. I guess it's sort of almost adjacent to country and like a pop in some ways.
Yeah,
it's kind of.
I mean, like, he's just like iconic. Like, he's like he's the mayor of Margaritaville. You know what I mean?
He is the calm side to Florida man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another celebrity who passed away, Sir Michael Gambon.
Yeah.
The second Dumbledore.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm going to be upset because I can't refer to the original as the Dumbledore who died, because now both Dumbledores have died.
Yeah.
Unless you count, what's his face from those prequel movies?
The guy with the face.
Yeah, he's actually a really good actor. I feel bad.
Yeah, I know. But
Watson from the Sherlock Holmes movies, but not the British Watson from the British Sherlock Holmes.
Okay. Well, but anyway, getting back to Michael Gambon, you might also know him from the Western Open Range, where he plays the main villain. Yeah, which is kind of funny because his predecessor, I always forget his name, Richard Harris, was also in Westerns. But I don't think Michael Gambon was in as many. But they're both, I think they were both Irish, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Jude Law, that's who I was thinking.
Jude Law, yeah. I don't know why I couldn't think of his name, and I feel bad. Okay. Another one, Lance Reddick, passed away at 60. Just kind of came out of nowhere, too.
He seemed like he was doing healthy. Like, you look at pictures of him, and he black don't crack. Like, he aged well.
If you'd asked me, I would have thought he was in his 40s.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he's kind of like a side character in a lot of things. Like, he's not like the main guy. Well, the only unfortunate like role he had where he was more of a main character was the Netflix's canceled Resident Evil show from last year. We can't really hold that against him because he was also in John Wick.
Yeah,
as a much more memorable character, which I haven't seen John Wick 4, so hopefully he shows up a decent amount there. But he was, even though I don't like John Wick 3, he was pretty good in that movie. Mm-hmm. I will say that about John Wick 3.
Paul Rubin, Pee Wee Herman, has passed away. And that would probably upset us more if it wasn't for the fact that he's kind of been a bit of a nut house the past few decades. But
yeah.
Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure, one of the greatest millennial movies ever. You're not a true pathetic millennial unless you watch it 2,000 times, which I have. So, and I used to watch the show when it was on PBS as well. I think it was just barely on in my lifetime.
I don't remember that being on when I was a kid. Oh, holy crap. But yeah, like, I haven't seen the movie either. I just know who he is.
Yeah.
And he taught me what crack was.
Hey, that's true.
Yeah. Thank you, Paul Rubin.
Mm-hmm.
Here's one that's, this, like, I almost would not have caught had it not come up on a gaming podcast I was watching. But James McCaffrey, if I'm pronouncing that right, he's most well known as the voice of Max Payne. But he's done other voice acting work with Remedy, the same studio that makes Max Payne. But as far as like being a in-person actor, I think his only like big role was in the FX show Rescue Me.
Mm.
He's like a firefighter in that. I don't remember the name of the character because I haven't watched that show. But Yeah, like I'm kind of worried about the not the Alan Wake, but the the Max Payne remakes, because I don't think they've gotten far enough to record his dialogue, unless they just reuse the old stuff, which is still good, I guess.
Yeah.
Uh,
Steve Harwell, lead singer of Smash Mouth.
yeah, I forgot
That's
about
another
that.
millennial icon. I mean, just what was it like in 2001 alone? You had Rat Race, Shrek, and the Digimon movie, which all used the Smash Mouth song.
I never saw the Digimon movie, but Rat Race and Shrek are pretty awesome.
Yep.
The years do stop coming
Mm-hmm.
eventually. How old was he? He couldn't have been like
He wasn't.
out
He
of his
wasn't very
50s.
old. I don't think. I think he might have been pushing 60. I don't know. I didn't write down the age.
Yeah. Another voice actor. I'm just getting back to my list. Johnny Hardwick, who is probably only known for being the voice actor for Dale Gribble on King of the Hill, which is another project that is the reboot of that's probably like dead in the water now, because you can't have King of the Hill without Dale Gribble, without Rusty Shackelford. Like, what the hell? And his passing away is friggin' weird too, like mysterious. Like they don't. I don't think they've like figured out what his cause of death was, but when they found his body, it was like partially decomposed.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's creepy.
It is really weird.
It's either creepy or it's sad, you know?
Yeah. And like, he was only in his like mid-60s. I mean, so was James McCaffrey, but like, I think he passed away from like cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else you have on your list?
Yeah. I have two more. Another voice actor, Arlene Sorkin.
Right.
The OG Harley Quinn voice actor. And I think she voiced Harley Quinn for a long time. I don't know if she did the Arkham games. I think she might have.
She did the first one, if I remember correctly.
Say.
Because then it switched to Tara Strong, or whatever her name is.
Mm-hmm. But, I don't know. Harley Quinn, one of the best characters from Batman, the animated series. Kind of a character I feel like has been almost ruined recently.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. So I'm not the minority there. Like,
Right. Yeah.
Don't like a lot of modern Harley Quinn stuff, but like the OG Harley Quinn was just really funny and served really well because it gave both Joker a goon, but it also gave someone for Robin to fight. So you would have Robin would typically fight Harley Quinn and Batman would go after the Joker.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we can blame we could probably blame the Arkham games for how Harley Quinn turned out.
Probably.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
And then the last one I have is Bob Barker. I didn't really watch The Price is Right, but I did watch a lot of Happy Gilmore. And that is one of the best scenes in that movie. There's a lot of good scenes in that movie, but
yeah,
Bob Barker getting back up and just beating Adam Sandler.
And the funny thing is, like, people thought he was old back then, and that movie's like, what, 25 years old now?
Probably closer to 30.
30, yeah, it's like, dang. Like, how, like, he was almost 100, right? Or was he 100?
I think he might have been 100, actually. Either that or he was in the 90s, I forget. But he was up there. He was up there.
Yeah. Oh, dang. And, I guess Matthew Perry's another notable one. I'm not a big fan of Friends, but
neither do I.
Does
he play as Joey?
No, he was Chandler.
Chandler? Okay.
Yeah. Well, he's done other stuff too. Like, he was the main villain in Fallout New Vegas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. People don't think he did the best job, but it's still kind of a notable thing. Apparently, he really liked that series, and I think that's how he got the role.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forget that character's name because I haven't really played Fallout that much, but yeah. I was gonna make a bad joke about drowning, but I don't know. Dang. Now I feel bad.
Okay, that's our list. The sad part is over. We can get to the cool stuff now.
Yeah. Do we want to get into the new stuff, or do we want to talk about this year in do first? Just kind of brighten it up a bit.
Sure, let's talk about this year in do.
Alrighty. So, I didn't try a lot of, like, new flavors, but I did try a lot of new to me flavors. So, an obvious one that both of us tried was Overdrive from Casey's General Store, or whatever they call it, Country Store, or whatever they call it. It's like kind of like a tropical Livewire.
Yeah.
That one I liked.
Yeah, me too. I will say this. This year was a lot better for Mountain Dew. There was a lot less crazy stuff. I mean, I'll never forget, I think it was 2021 where I just had to go off because there was just so much stupid Mountain Dew flavors. Yeah. This year was a lot more toned back. Most of the flavors they did were good, I thought.
Yeah. Then you tried Voodoo 2023, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, so I remember my impression of it being like, so I think I tried 2022, and I remember it tasting like Boomer Juice. But this year, I remember it, or for 2023, I remember it tasting like Boomer Juice with like a hint of like very, very fake raspberry or berry flavor.
Yeah.
Like mixed berry. So it was...
It still wasn't great, but I think it was a slight improvement.
Yeah.
If I had to say there was one disappointing flavor... Shoot, I don't actually remember the name of it. They had one flavor during the summertime that was supposed to be like Rocket Pop flavored. It was like...
So it wasn't Dew SA.
It wasn't Dew SA.
Freedom
but it was,
Dew. It had a generic name.
Freedom Dew.
Dew SA was like a... Oh, crap. It was like
a cocktail, I think.
It was like whiteout, code red, and like a voltage. It was like purple colored. But yeah, I know the one you're talking about. I didn't try that one.
It wasn't very good. Like, it wasn't bad either. It was probably better than the Voodoo. But
yeah.
It was, for what it could have been, I think it was a bit disappointing.
Yeah. Another kind of like disappointing one to me was, I forget the name of it, and I feel bad because I had it just last weekend. It's a pineapple flavored one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I don't remember the name of it. I just remember being like kind of put off by the color of it because it was a slightly more yellow, like regular Dew color, and it's like it almost looks like it's tainted or something. It's like it was messing with me. But it wasn't bad. It like wasn't very strong on pineapple flavor though, which I guess is kind of a good thing. I'm not the biggest pineapple fan.
Yeah.
I think they did one like that last year. It was like Baja Blast adjacent though.
I remember in 2021 they did, and
oh yeah, maybe it was 2021.
It was way better than it had any right to be. The two Baja Blast flavors they did this year were actually pretty good. They had one that was passion fruit, which I really liked.
I think I tried that one. Yeah, that one wasn't bad.
And then I'm trying to remember what the other one was. The other one was pretty good too, though. It
wasn't the golden colored one, was it?
No, it was like a purple one and I think a pink one.
I don't remember the pink one.
Yeah.
Was it like dragon fruit, maybe?
It might have been. Might have been.
I don't think I tried both of those, because it was the year before that I tried both of them, and like the golden one was like kind of alright, and I don't remember the other one. Yeah. But then, I guess the last new to me flavor I tried, which this one's been around for a couple years now, Major Melon. I was actually drinking it during Quake Miss, because Robbie was trying out Overdrive. And all I got to say is, man, does Major Melon suck.
Yeah, I can't believe that one is so popular.
Yeah, and I had been holding out trying it for years, just because I think, well, for one,
the art on the bottle looks stupid.
It actually wasn't the art on the bottle. For one thing, it was like watermelon. It's like you can be very hit or miss with that. The other thing too is the only like YouTube ad I remember seeing for it. John Cena was like in the commercial, and if I want John Cena, if I'm looking for any endorsements for John Cena, it's either for Mandarin lessons or really, really bad hair loss treatment. Yeah. Not Mountain Dew. And I think, I regret even trying it now. Darn it.
The last flavor I have to bring up is they brought back the Halo 3 Mountain Dew after freaking 16 years.
When did they do that?
They did it in
original Game Fuel.
It wasn't Game Fuel. This one actually predated Game Fuel. It was like...
No, I think that's what they called it.
I think you're right, because they had a flavor that was Game Fuel, though, didn't they? It was like
right,
a dark green.
It was just called... Or no, it wasn't dark green. So maybe it wasn't... The one I'm thinking of was like an orange color.
Okay,
this was called Game Fuel.
Maybe it was this one. Okay, I thought Game Fuel was its own flavor, but this was like a citrus cherry flavor.
But it was dark green?
No. This one wasn't dark green. I was saying that.
Okay.
The one they did for like the Call of Duty games was dark green. I remember that.
Right, yeah.
But before they made those ones, I remember they had this Halo 3 one, and the Halo 3 one is like this citrus cherry.
Yeah.
It was cool they brought it back, but I don't know. I didn't think it was that good. I mean, Mountain Dew already has like a cherry flavor, like Code Red, and I'm one of the 5 people on Earth who likes Code Red, so
it's not bad.
Yeah, I wasn't too impressed with that flavor. So it seemed like it wasn't out very long. Like it was, I can't find it anymore, and it was only like a month or two ago that I tried it. So
Yeah.
It was more just funny because they did a event for it on Halo Infinite. They had the Halo 3 refueled playlist where it was a bunch of Halo 3 maps and also a new map which took place in a Mountain Dew factory. And I have to say, the new map was actually pretty cool. Despite being in a Mountain Dew factory and there's like a foot of Mountain Dew on the floor.
Like just liquid?
Yeah, it's like a Mountain Dew factory where there's like an eruption went off or something.
So the pipe ruptured.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was pretty funny.
So yeah, this has been a year in Dew.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't know. I don't go out of my way to drink soda usually, but if there's a interesting sounding Dew flavor, I'll try it.
The amount of Mountain Dew I've drank has definitely gone down now that I'm outside of school. So
yeah. Okay, so we're gonna get into the new stuff from 2023 that we checked out, as well as the new to us stuff. We'll try to make the distinction. I mean, it should be obvious because, if we're talking about a movie that's been around for 50 years, well, obviously it didn't come out this year. Maybe the Blu-ray did, but who knows? All right, we're going to start off the list. I wouldn't say easily because this is the longest one I have. Friggin' movies. Rob, I'll let you lead. Let's start with new in 2023 movies that you saw.
Okay. Movie of the year. RoboCop. I finally watched it all the way through.
No, I said new in 2023, not new to us. Dang it.
Shut up. It's that good. We have to talk about RoboCop first.
Okay, because that was on my list for new to me stuff.
Yeah.
I would give that a good double thumbs up.
Yeah, first of all, it's just a Batman movie. But it's better than most of the Batman movies. Like, I didn't realize how much of that movie is, like, just stolen and then put in The Dark Knight Returns.
Hey, but here's the theory I have. So, like, the thing about, like... The thing about Starship Troopers, apparently Paul Verhoeven or Verhoeven, however the hell you pronounce his Dutch freaking last name, apparently he didn't read all of Starship Troopers, the book, before he made the movie, which I kind of don't blame him because it's a very dry read. But I wonder if he didn't read all of The Dark Knight Rises, and that's why, or The Dark Knight Returns, and that's why it's not just that straight up, but with RoboCop.
Well, RoboCop predates Dark Knight Rises, I think.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I think so. I think I looked it up. Because I remember I was surprised when I found out that they hired Frank Miller to write RoboCop 2.
Yeah.
And they didn't like what he made.
Oh,
so
that's funny.
RoboCop was 1987. Dark Knight.
I thought that was mid-'80s. It was back when Frank Miller had a mullet.
Yeah.
An 80s mullet.
Let's see. 1986. Ooh,
yeah.
It's
like I got that.
Connor got a point, yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, this is an awesome movie. The reason why I decided to check it out is because the game that came out, I did not play it. I did watch someone else play it, and it looked cool. And it's like, I have not seen this movie. I probably should.
Yeah,
because I haven't.
I watched RoboCop 1, and like the next day I watched RoboCop 3. And then a few weeks ago I was sick, and I watched some of the RoboCop TV show from the 90s, I think.
Did you skip 2?
I did skip 2 just because it wasn't free on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
What a fun movie, though. Just like... So much about that movie just works, and it's...
Yeah. It's just funny to me that people didn't realize that it was satire at the time. Not everybody did.
Yeah.
And it's like, it hits you pretty, like...
I feel like if you were a kid watching it, you wouldn't. But, yeah, like...
Yeah, if you're just watching it for action scenes, I mean, you'll still be entertained. But, like, if you just kind of read into it, but it's... I don't know if hilarious is the right word to use with
I think hilarious is with it. I mean, like... This is from RoboCop 3, but one of the scenes I like is when they're doing layoffs, and there's just a scene where like a guy walks by an office, and you can see in the office somebody's wife is trying to talk to her husband on the phone, and the husband just puts the phone down and then jumps out the window. And then in a later scene it cuts and you see him fall out the window in the background of the building. And like, it's stupid. Like, that's like dumb, like very surface level, satire and stuff. But like, I don't know. I just really liked it. I just thought it was really funny and fun and exciting, and yeah, and I don't know, RoboCop is just such a cool character because, like, he's both, like, scary, but he also comes off as, like, nice. And he also comes off as, like, kind of a dumbass sometimes, but he also comes off as like really tough as well. Like he matches so many different things, like, and it doesn't feel like contradictive, you know. But he's just a cool character.
Yeah, it is kind of funny though that they got Peter Weller to do the voice of Batman in the animated Dark Knight Returns.
That's very interesting.
Because I didn't put two and two together until like I had seen the movie. You know, like the similarities. Like that's freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
So I guess Peter Weller is not only RoboCop, he is also old Batman Returns Batman or Dark Knight Returns Batman.
And he does a really good job in that movie too, I should add.
I gotta watch that again. All right. So we got that out of the way. Now let's talk about the horrible crap that came out in 2023, and that makes me want to die. Well, let's start with a light one, Avatar 2. You know my thoughts because it was the first Scramble cast from this year.
I still have not seen it, so my opinions are still, I don't care.
Yeah, I'm just kind of in the middle of, like, it.
I feel like a movie that leaves you in the middle is probably considered a good movie now.
That's the problem, though. But I saw so much stuff that was better. Like, I talk about it in the review. It's like I had watched, like, The Wild Bunch for the first time, which I'll talk about later. And it's like, I enjoyed that way more. It's like, in RoboCop, I enjoyed way more because it's just freaking half the length. It's like, I can appreciate, like, you know, like, very big effects, you know, like world building and stuff, but like there just comes a time, like this isn't Lord of the Rings. I don't give enough of a shit about the, like, you know, Pandora to really care.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't think they're really capitalizing as much on like stuff outside of the films, even though I guess there are comics, there are games, but it's just not like, I don't think it's moving beyond like fans of the films.
There's some weird connection that just isn't happening with Avatar, at least for me personally. Like, I feel like it has all of the elements to be something that I should love, but I just don't. And I don't know. I haven't seen the movie. Maybe I'll see it and my opinion will change, but I don't think so, because I just don't think so.
Yeah, I think it's just that I think it's so like, it's kind of generic, not necessarily like in what it, like, not like what all the elements of it, like the world it creates, but like how it goes about them, that there are other movies that do the same thing that have done it better.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's what it is. So yeah, I don't want to dwell on that too much, but yeah, just watch our Scramble cast, our first one, Avatar and Allies, the 15th Battle of Isonzo. I think that's right at the beginning. And then really the only other new movie I saw this year was, and you saw this with me, Godzilla -1, which ironically we saw on Pearl Harbor Day.
Huh. How about that? Okay, I said that RoboCop was the movie of the year, but if we're doing movie of the year that came out in 2023, I have to say Godzilla -1 because I'm contractually obligated to say Godzilla every year. But this time I actually mean the truth, because this is a really good Godzilla movie. And that's not to say the other ones have been bad, but like a good Godzilla movie and a good objective movie are not the same thing. Well, this is like an actual, like, objectively good Godzilla movie. And there's maybe like 3 others that exist in a franchise of like 40 films. So just think about that.
Yeah. And me being someone who has never seen a Godzilla movie, let alone a kaiju movie, I enjoyed it. Maybe part of that has to do with it, like, being more focused on the people, which I know some of the other Godzilla movies do that, and it's very hit or miss, maybe emphasis miss.
Yeah, it's very, very miss most of the time. There are a handful that I think have good human characters, but
yeah,
very rare.
Yeah, I think the thing that did it for me was that it's like a very historical setting. It's right on the ass end of World War II. You see a ruined Tokyo. And then Godzilla comes around, and it's, you know, Japan without any ability to defend itself.
Yeah.
And, like, they work in this very awkward way of, like, the United States not being able to step in and help because of fear of, you know, MacArthur's afraid that the Soviets are going to be set off. I don't know why they thought that would stop them in real life.
One of the ones I like is Godzilla 1984, which... It's another one of the 3 ones I would call actually good, but Godzilla attacks a Soviet nuclear submarine because he's eating all the missiles, and the U.S. is just like, let's just keep him around a little longer. But yeah, like it's got really, it's got so many themes and like messages and stuff about like war, but also like government and family and sacrifice and stuff. And yeah, it's just really good. And it was kind of awkward because that movie came out in the United States like a week or maybe only a few days before they released the trailer for the next American Godzilla movie.
Oh boy.
And like, it's like, oh, sorry, I don't have any interest in this anymore. and I feel bad to say that, but I mean, I think the biggest issue I have with the next American Godzilla movie was that it was written to be a King Kong movie. And then the studio was like, we don't think any money is going to be made if it doesn't have Godzilla in it. So like, you can even like tell in the trailer that Godzilla just kind of feels awkwardly shoved in. And it's funny because this isn't even the first time they've done this in a Godzilla movie. There's actually quite a few others where they've had to do that. But hopefully the next one will be good. But I think the issue is now that people have seen Godzilla -1 and they know like like Godzilla can be objectively good. I feel like everybody's just gonna like start trash talking on these American ones. Which, to be fair, the American ones are still very faithful to Godzilla, but it's faithful in a different aspect. It's faithful to the more campy superhero ones, as opposed to this one, which is more going into the historical drama and war and nuclear stuff. And the other thing I'm not looking forward to is the American dub, because they're going to make an American dub for it.
That's going to be weird.
Yeah, because I mean, American dubs have gotten so much better, at least with anime in the past decade. Like, you go back and watch like clips of old anime from like the 90s and 2000s, and it's just like awful dubbing. Yeah. And now there's like actual voice actors doing it. So I was like, well, maybe now that things have changed, they'll get like some good actors to do the performances. But we'll have to wait and see, because I know the English version of Shin Godzilla, which was the last Japanese Godzilla movie, had a pretty bad English dub. So we'll just have to wait and see how this goes.
Yeah, one question I do have about the film is like the title. What the hell does it mean?
So the title is a stupid anime name, but it makes sense if you watch the trailer. Okay. There was a trailer where it's like, after World War II, Japan was brought to 0. Now Godzilla will bring it to -1.
Is that really what?
Yeah, that's what it is. That's the idea of the name, is that Japan -1, Godzilla 1. Yeah. So.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess if the movie had another $5 million in its budget, maybe it would have a better reason to call it Godzilla -1. Yeah. That's the one impressive thing about the film, though. It's low budget.
Mm-hmm.
If they're being honest about it,
and it doesn't look terrible. There's a lot of foreign films have a hard time with CGI and stuff because they don't have access to ILM or as many computer graphics studios as we have here in the States. But I think this movie looks pretty good. I mean, there's a few scenes where Godzilla looks a little wonky, but overall the CGI I didn't think was too bad.
Yeah, I don't remember anything glaring about it, but yeah, I don't know. I only saw it once. You saw it way more times.
Yeah, I only saw it twice, but yeah. Okay.
I thought you saw it like 3 or 4.
Right. It did make me a little sad because Toho, the studio that owns Godzilla, for the past few years, they've been doing these little, like, mini short Godzilla movies that are completely made with suits and suitimation and stuff. And I was kind of thinking, I was like, oh, maybe this is like a practice run for the next Godzilla movie, and the next one will be completely suitimation. But this one isn't. But for what it is, it works. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It would be hard to make Godzilla scary if he was a rubber suit.
Yeah.
Like, that's just how it is.
They would still need to use a lot of CGI anyway. Mm-hmm. So they'd probably just say, screw it, make them all CGI.
Yep.
I think that's what happened with Yoda and friggin' Attack of the Clones.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen, there's a clip, this is getting off topic, there's a clip, it's like a behind-the-scenes clip, where there's some computer generation, like some computer graphics guy that's talking to George Lucas, like, okay, so we've got this, like, whole Yoda thing, and we noticed that Yoda in the old movies, he kind of moved like a puppet, so we wanted to get away with that, so we figured out, like, how would Yoda move if it was realistic? And it's, like, incredibly cursed, and George Lucas is like, yeah, maybe you could just animate it to look like a puppet. you kind of realize like, oh, this was a mistake.
I don't even want to think about that.
Yeah.
So that made it into the movie?
No, it didn't.
Okay.
But originally, Yoda was going to move more organically, and they kind of toned it down. That's why even CGI Yoda basically just sits in a chair and turns his head and stuff.
Yeah. Alrighty. So, were there any other new movies you saw in 2023?
There were a few. Nothing too notable. I saw Ant-Man. Wasn't very good. It wasn't as bad as I think some people were saying, but it is objectively a bad movie, and it is B-movie status, I would say that. And then, I didn't watch a ton. Oh, wait, hang on. Okay, worst movie of the year. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Yeah, which
That was actually the reason why I didn't watch too many movies this year, because I saw that movie, and it put me in a really bad mood, and I just kind of didn't want to go back to the theater. I don't think I did go back to the theaters until Godzilla -1, actually.
Oh, boy.
Yeah,
Yeah, for me, it was Avatar 2. That took me a long time to recover from that. No, I'm just kidding. But, yeah, because we had a video that we were gonna do where we actually recorded it, but the audio cut out, and my audio was bad because we were doing it over Skype, and like I had an AC unit running in the background.
I think it was on the 4th of July too. It was kind of a hectic situation. It's too bad because I was in a really pissed off mood, and I said a lot of funny things. But yeah, it's just it just makes you sad, and not because it's a sad movie, but just because like Harrison Ford is like 2 million years old. And the whole thing is filmed on a green screen. And, like, the plot is stupid. It's just like a nothing movie. And, like, Indiana Jones should be so cool. And for them to make that lame of a movie, meh. Yeah. I definitely wouldn't watch it in theaters. Obviously, it's not in theaters anymore. If you're really curious, I guess you could check it out. It's not an overtly offensive movie, but it's just like a wet rag, I guess. That's the best thing I can describe it as. Just so painfully meh. And so, like, lackluster of good ideas that it's just... Yeah.
No, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, yeah, I did not watch any other new movies this year.
Yeah.
New in 2023 movies. Did not watch Oppenheimer, even though I wanted to. Wanted to see Cocaine Bear. Haven't seen it. Wanted to see Sisu. Same thing. I saw the DVD and I was going to buy it. And it's like, I'll wait. Because I was thinking about getting it as a Christmas gift for my dad, which I ended up not getting. Actually, I should get him John Wick 4 instead. Not for Christmas, obviously. Dang it.
Yeah.
I wanted to see Renfield, and then I found out not only does it take place in the modern day, but also Aquafina's in it. And I didn't feel like killing myself that day, so I bought like the Fly collection instead. That was also why I didn't buy Sisu.
Mm-hmm. I didn't watch Last Voyage of the Demeter, but I did want to.
Oh, crap. I forgot that came out.
I watched Megan with a 3.
Yeah.
That was... I saw a bunch of people online that were like, yeah, this movie's okay, but it's just not as goofy as I thought it was going to be. What did you think this movie was going to be? It literally...
Chucky? Like one of the later... Or like they're...
It literally ends with like a robot punch-up battle where she has to fight like a mech suit and she's doing like a spider crawl. Like... What's goofier than that? Like, I don't know what these people expected.
I don't know either, but
It feels ripped straight from like a low budget 80s VHS straight to VHS movie. Like, it's so unapologetically like cheesy and just goofy and stuff. I had so much fun with it.
Well, that came out this year. Right?
Yeah, it came out January, so barely in this year, but it was this year.
Huh. Okay.
And then I saw Shazam McFlurry of the Gmod. I think I would be happier if I hadn't seen it. Which is too bad because I really liked the first Shazam movie, but the DC movie universe had a very painful death this year.
I'm just surprised it's still limping on.
Well, it's not. Aquaman 2 is the last one they're ever going to make. So.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that was...
And that's too bad. I didn't see it, so I can't really say how bad Aquaman 2 is. I heard it's not good.
I forgot it came out.
Yeah, I also really like the first Aquaman movie, but I don't know.
Okay.
I don't want to see something that's going to leave me upset, so...
All right. So I saw a metric shit ton of new to me movies this year, And I think the best thing to do is to kind of sort them by category,
Mhm.
or like genre, I mean. I guess we'll start with like sci-fi. RoboCop's an obviously a good mention there. Another one, which actually, Rob, you and I watched, The Green Slime.
Very fun. Very fun.
Recommended it for Halloween this year. It is a hilarious movie, just with how the effects were done.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to see, like the effects are not believable at all, but they're at least funny to watch. And I don't know why the like reviews for it are so low, because if you approach it from like the mindset that this is a hilarious ass movie, like you don't take it seriously, you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, like I thought it was like pretty good. Like if you're looking for a movie that just bleeds 1950s, 60s space horror B movie vibe, this is it. Like this is like the perfect B movie.
Yeah, low budget. It's in color though. Which is
it
cool.
is in color. But really cool space sets. I mean, I say really cool. There's like a little asterisk there, like cool in a weird retro 1960s B movie way. Like fun planet sets, fun monsters, fun special effects. Like this would be a perfect movie to put on if you're having like a Halloween party or something. Just leaving it on in the background, just so like random people could, while they're taking drinks, look over at the TV and just be like, "What the hell?"
Yeah.
I don't see how you can't have fun with this movie.
I can't either. I like it. It's and like it just reminds me of so many different movies that came after it, even though it doesn't really have like, I don't think it influenced any of them at all. Like Alien, Junji Ito's Remina, Armageddon.
Yeah.
The Thing, I guess, and
Evolution, sort of.
Okay.
I mean, I know Evolution's a comedy, but even that movie sort of weird.
Oh yeah, I could see that. I haven't seen Evolution though.
Yeah.
But I can understand what you're getting at. To get at another kind of sci-fi movie that I guess could be categorized as a horror film, but I don't think it's good at that. The Thing from Another World, the original The Thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's all right.
It's all right. So if you ask Greg, he would say something else entirely, and I hope he does in the comments, because I want to read it, because he does not like that film at all. Just our perspective on it is that we saw John Carpenter's The Thing first, which is allegedly a remake of this movie.
Not really, though.
Not really. And he likes that movie. Like, John Carpenter loves that movie. That's why he remade it, and that's why he used the title sequence. Reused it. But, like, it's got some okay scenes in it. It's just some of the, like, aspects of it are just not as good. Like,
it's slow. The story isn't as good. It's just...
Yeah. It does have a nice, like, old-timey movie feel to it. Like, I think it might be one of the first movies of this type to come out.
Probably.
Unless, maybe in America... Or maybe at least like a bigger budget one. Because it's produced by Winchester. Who apparently made movies back in the day. That's funny. But yeah, like it's... Yeah, like, and it's weird that they say it's based on Who Goes There, because you can't really see that as much, because it takes place on, like, the Arctic.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of, like, the main, like, group is, like, they're military. They're, like, Air Force, not scientists. Does explain why they have guns, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, and the creature is just kind of awkward looking. I feel bad for James Arness, or whoever he is, the guy from Gunsmoke. Yeah, they do have that one cool scene where they like try to set him on fire.
Yeah, that is a
that
cool
is a good scene.
If you have to watch one scene of this movie, that's the scene to watch.
Yeah, but just the rest of it is just like kind of. I don't know. Maybe I'll watch it again, because there are a lot of people whose opinions I value on movies that love this movie for different reasons. James Rolfe is a big one. Like, he actually had a video that came out this year talking about, like, The Thing is a great film or something. It was like that, but he was actually talking about this movie, not John Carpenter's.
Yeah, I know that he said many times that he prefers the original versus the John Carpenter one.
Yeah, and I understand his sentiment to a degree, and we'll get into this later when I talk about Westerns, but, like, his thing is, like, oh, when you search The Thing online, what do you get? You get John Carpenter's The Thing. well, the problem there, buddy, is you got to put in from another
Yeah,
from
that's not
another
the title
world. Like
of it.
that's the full title. Even though they do emphasize the thing in like the title
Mhm.
sequence and on the packaging often. So yeah, it's like, so yeah, it has a place, and like I think it's definitely a better movie for like family
Yeah.
because it's not as friggin' violent or
No.
gory as the thing, and
This one won't terrify you the way the other one does.
it won't give your kid. Well, it probably still would give like young kids nightmares, but like still,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it's an alright film. I don't hate it. I don't love it, but that might change with another viewing if I think about it more. But I don't know.
Mhm.
Just see what Greg has to say. We're putting all the heavy lifting on him this time because we didn't ask him to be here. This would probably be going on for another half hour.
Yep.
Just this part. What else do I have in the realm of sci-fi? So 12 Monkeys.
12 Monkeys, a sci-fi film?
It is.
Huh. I just remember I was pissed off because there wasn't any monkeys.
There are monkeys in the damn movie. Who made that joke?
I made that joke. I've been making that joke since fifth
I
grade.
thought you said someone like in...
Okay, I did steal it from a Flash video,
Right.
but
Yeah, who was it?
what was his name? It was a weird guy.
Yeah, there are monkeys in the movie. I can't
Yeah.
confirm because I've seen it, Robbie.
You're talking about besides Brad Pitt?
Yeah, besides Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Okay, dang, I don't know what they gave Brad Pitt in that movie, but he is like the more, I don't know, it's kind of like more, no, he's, like people like to make it, there's a theory that he's Tyler Durden,
Mhm.
and it's basically the same idea for his character, kind of, but like, yeah, he's going places, but Bruce Willis, kind of as like the main character in that movie, like kind of like I don't want to say much to spoil it, but yeah, it's a good movie. Like
Okay.
I really enjoyed it. It's one of the few movies that I was like that I saw this year. It's like, okay, I gotta watch this again like next weekend or as soon as I can. Yeah, it's like it's got time travel, but it does it in a way that's like kind of a little bit more unique, where
Mhm.
it's not as reliable, and kind of use that, like kind of work with that, like because like in the current year that the movie starts out in, it's like I don't know how far like past like the year the movie came out it's supposed to be, but everybody's underground because like this mysterious illness killed off a lot of the planet, and
I hate it when it does
they
that.
don't go up to the surface except I don't know, and then like they find out, or that they send Bruce Willis up as a volunteer and like to go to the surface and try to like gather, I guess, like insect specimens or something, because like the animals have pretty much taken over, and like he finds this like graffiti. It's like a symbol that says like 12 monkeys, or it's like a 12 with like 12 little monkeys around it. It says "We did it." So then they decide to send him back in time to try to get a raw sample of the virus, like before it gets like mutated, and then find the 12 monkeys essentially.
That does sound pretty cool.
Yep. It's got this other lady in it whose name I forget, but she does a good job too. Can't really remember any other like big name actors in it other than Bruce Willis and Brad Pitt, but yeah, I will say it is a movie that you will benefit from watching it more than once. It's not the most straightforward movie, so if it's you need to like have everything cleared cut and handed to you, like you're probably not going to enjoy it. There isn't a lot of like action in it, but it does make you think a little bit. Like it's kind of neat in that regard. And then another one, The Cell, which it's kind of like a mix of horror and sci-fi and like a thriller. Stars Jennifer Lopez, Vincent D'Onofrio, and Vince Vaughn in like one of his few dramatic roles that like doesn't, like he's not like comic relief or anything. Man, was this the weirdest freaking film that I ever watched.
That premise alone sounds pretty weird.
Yeah, the basic idea is that Jennifer Lopez is a therapist that uses did I talk about this in our Halloween recommendations?
I don't think
the
so.
second part? Okay. Yeah, she's a therapist that has the special, that like she works with this group that has special technology that allows her to enter like, the patient's mind and try to work with them. And then Vincent D'Onofrio is the serial killer who abducts women and like drowns them in these like the eponymous cell, and and videotapes it. And they catch him, and he goes into a coma. And they don't know where his latest victim is because they found out that he abducted her, and then and so they have Jennifer Lawrence enter his mind, and that's where the movie turns into Silent Hill 4: The Room.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, if I want to say anything about this movie and kind of condense it a bit, it's like Seven and Silence of the Lambs meets Silent Hill 4: The Room, and it is a very disturbing movie. Also a very there's a lot of scenes in it where it's like, like the kind of scenes in movies where people will walk in, like if you're like watching it and you're thinking like, I hope no one walks in now without context. There's quite a few of those in this movie. I mean, it is rated R, and the version of it on Blu-ray, I guess, is the unrated version, which I didn't know, but or it's like the uncut version, so there is like additional stuff in it. It's like I watched that, and then I watched 12 Monkeys, and it's like I'm deciding to have a what the F did I just watch movie night. Yeah. Because I thought 12 Monkeys was going to be more of like a horror thriller for some reason. I don't know. Just look at the packaging and design. It's like, oh, the Bruce Willis, the monkey symbol on his eye. It scares me. Stop it. So that pretty much covers the sci-fi side of things. Horror. Oh, we got a big one. You and me. Friggin' Nosferatu.
Yep.
The original. Silent film. Weirdly enough, the version we saw was not in black and white, which kind of freaked me out. Because, some of the, I guess the sequences were, they had, a color, to them. Like, a color tone. It was, either,
I think originally it was shown in the color that we had it. But most people who have seen it saw black and white copies of it. And when I say most people have seen it, I'm talking about TV and home releases. I mean, I don't know how much this movie was shown on TV, but at least for home VHS releases, it was black and white.
Yeah. So yeah, this is it's meant to be a very accurate restoration of it. Crap, who did it? I think it was Kino Lorber or Kale Studio, which they do a lot of stuff like that. A lot of old horror movies and even westerns too, which is kind of interesting. But yeah. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
I liked it a lot. It was a lot more faithful to the Dracula book than I expected.
So yeah.
It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah. I guess you do have to pay attention because it's a silent film.
Yeah, so you do have to do some reading, but I don't know, I like watching silent films with friends.
Yeah.
Just because you get to dub it yourself.
Right. And especially this one was interesting just because it was a very, very early movie back before
a lot of movie making techniques were made.
Film very took its stride.
And it's cool too because the design of Count Orlok is still really cool to this day. It's crazy to see something that's over 100 years old and be the guy who came up with this, he was onto something, it's just funny to see stuff like that.
Yeah. Very much.
They're remaking it this year, I think.
Really? Yeah, I thought they already remade it in the 70s.
I mean, it's hard to say what counts as a remake of Nosferatu, but I think they are making a movie this year that's going to be called Nosferatu. And I don't know how I feel about that, but
I wonder who's going to be in it.
I saw a list, but I didn't care enough because it was one of those movies that was listed as coming out this year, but it was listed coming out 2024 with an asterisk next to it. So the production is still kind of muddled right now.
Okay. 3 I'm going to knock out real quick because I don't really have as much to say. They stand on their own. I saw Dracula, I saw Wolfman, and then I saw Bride of Frankenstein, the Universal classic monster movies. I liked all 3.
Okay. If you had to pick a favorite on those 3, which one would you say was the best?
Don't ask me.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah, I liked them all for different reasons. Dracula, surprisingly, was also very faithful to the book in a lot of ways, in a lot of weird ways. Like I don't know why, but it's not 100%. But yeah, and then Bride of Frankenstein was kind of interesting.
Yeah, see, Bride of Frankenstein is, I think, usually considered the best Universal monster movie, and I was curious if you were going to be like, oh yeah, easily that one. So
yeah,
that's why I asked.
Yeah, like, but no, like just seeing, because I wasn't like the most impressed by Frankenstein when I first saw it last year.
Mm-hmm.
I rewatched it again. I actually watched it with my parents, and they really liked it.
Yeah,
and it's like, yeah, this wasn't bad, and like the sequel, same. It's like this is really good. Wolfman, I think, as like a horror film, like works the best, especially since it's like an original premise, a little bit more original. Like just that, like the idea of it as a horror film, because the other movies, like not to like, well, the other ones that I've seen, those other like couple, I guess, with the exception of Frankenstein, like they kind of have happy-ish endings. Like definitely, well, I mean the book Dracula did too. But like, Wolfman just kind of has like what I would expect from a horror movie, like that kind of ending.
Yeah.
And kind of going into that too, I saw a couple Hammer horror films. I saw Brides of Dracula and what is it called in the U.S.? I think it's called it's called Night Creatures in the U.S., but everywhere else it's called Captain Clegg. Both films with Peter Cushing in the lead. Obviously, because he was Van Helsing in the Hammer Dracula films. Yeah, I got a random collection of like Hammer horror movies, like 8 of them. The Brides of Dracula was the only Dracula movie there. There's only like one of their Frankenstein films. I think really the only notable one on there is Curse of the Werewolf, maybe. Which I see on, not to friggin' bring up James Rolfe all the time, but he had that in his like, he had like the VHS of it and like quite a few of his promotional parts of his videos. But so it's like, oh, maybe that one's well known. But yeah, I'd say like they were pretty good. Like they were a lot better than I expected. But there might be better examples of Hammer horror films.
Yeah. Since
I've only seen those 2, I can't really say for sure. Captain Clegg felt more like a historical drama than a horror movie. But it was still, worth your time.
Yeah.
Speaking of other like horror films, quote unquote, that feel more like historical dramas, Witchfinder General with Vincent Price. I don't know why this movie is considered a horror film. It is not a horror film. It's a historical drama. Yeah, it had been on my list to watch for the longest time, and I finally saw it.
Yeah,
and I guess I enjoyed it, but it's, I don't know.
Yeah.
He's got a funky haircut in it. And he doesn't have like a British accent, which is kind of funny because it takes place in England.
Oh, that's funny.
In like the 15 or 1600s. Yeah. Yeah, it does have like a very like hard and set in stone historical like setting to it, which is kind of amazing. Like I don't know too much about England's history, but like that's one of the things I read about. It's like, yeah, it was praised for its historical accuracy or like, that's cool. Some approximation of it. But yeah, it's not a horror film. I don't know why it's called that. I was hoping it would be one. But there are some, I guess, horrifying scenes in it because they're like witch executions that may have been kind of, shocking at the time. Yeah. This came out in the 60s, but not today. But yeah, if they remade it today, they'd probably overdo it. You want to talk about Carnival of Souls?
Yeah, let's talk about Carnival of Souls.
Because you saw this with me.
Yeah. That's a movie that I don't know exactly how I feel about it, but I think the more I think about it, the more I like it.
Yeah.
Like when we first watched it, I was like, oh, this is okay. And I knew it wasn't supposed to be an amazing movie because I think it was made by like a bunch of, I want to say they were college students. They might not have been college students though, but very young filmmakers.
Yeah.
And it only exists, I think, because there was this old abandoned waterfront carnival in Salt Lake that they were going to tear down, and some guy was like, yeah, sure, you can shoot a movie here before we tear it down. So the whole movie is based around the fact that they got the rights to shoot on this abandoned carnival.
Yeah, and the movie has a very, like, it's very obviously, like, some people will call it like an art film. Like it's very, it's got a very, it's a very independent film, indie film.
Yeah.
And to describe it like in a very generic way, it feels like, and you said this too, it feels like an episode of The Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
But like it's a feature-length one.
Like a long Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah.
And it's one of those movies where you don't really get a resolution. I mean, you kind of do, but it's left to your interpretation as to what really happened. And it's also one of those movies about a girl that's like, I'm going crazy. What does that mean? I don't know. But it was fun to watch, so.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm no woman, and I don't understand women. Women understand women.
I've never even been crazy.
Yeah.
I'm not crazy about anything. That's the biggest lie.
Yeah. One thing that did bother me about the movie is that there are a lot of like weird, awkward cuts and scenes in the film.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, oh, it adds to the charm because it's like, more of an amateur thing, but it's like, it still kind of feels funky. And the film's very short. It's like only 70 minutes.
Yeah.
And, well, the version we saw was, I think there's a an extended cut that's slightly longer. And you can watch this online for free. Like, it's in the public domain now. And I think that's the most common version now.
Yeah.
I couldn't find a physical copy of it. I don't know why Criterion freaking shipped the standard length one. Maybe just because they wanted to have the original one that made it out there. But I don't know. I would like to maybe watch the director's cut someday.
Yeah. The music was really good in this movie too. I mean, like it's got good haunting music, and the scenes where she's actually just wandering around the carnival are very cool if you like that stuff. It's fun seeing what an old abandoned carnival from the 60s looks like, I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. I'll have to watch it again.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a movie I would be willing to watch again.
Yeah. And then to kind of round things off with horror films for me, I finished. We already talked about them earlier this podcast forever ago. I finished John Carpenter's Apocalypse trilogy. I saw the other two films in it, Prince of Darkness and In the Mouth of Madness. I kind of picked up Prince of Darkness I picked that up at the end of November. And it's like, I want to watch this. And I'll get into that later. Because, yeah. And then In the Mouth of Madness, I asked for Christmas.
Yeah.
And I think I watched it Christmas evening. It's like, okay. Yeah, because I actually got The Thing for Christmas one year. It's like I have a weird habit of that. It's like if there's a movie I want to get, and it's always been horror films. Like it was The Thing, then it was Jacob's Ladder, then now it's In the Mouth of Madness. Mm-hmm. It's like, hey, can you get this for me? Don't be put off by the weird, the weird cover art.
Oh, it's such a cool cover, especially because you have the holographic cover, don't you?
Oh, I don't. I wish it was holographic.
I know they made a holographic cover for that movie, and it looks so cool.
You're talking about the one that has Sam Neill on the front of it, and he's got
I'm talking about John Carpenter's The Thing.
Oh no, I didn't get that. Okay, I was talking about In the Mouth of Madness.
Oh yeah, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, it's got that, and
I know Prince of Darkness has a weird cover too.
Yeah, the original. I don't like the original cover to that, or the original poster art. It's the reverse on the one that I got. Same with In the Mouth of Madness. But yeah, and just to kind of not go over not take too much time with these. For those of you who enjoyed The Thing and want to continue with the Apocalypse trilogy, this is my first impressions, after seeing the other two films in it. There's a bit of a decline in quality. I would say that I think The Thing is objectively, and this is just, like I said, seeing these other two films only one time each. I think The Thing is probably the best film out of the trilogy. So it starts on a high note, unfortunately, but I don't think you'll waste your time if you want to watch them. Mm-hmm. They are still good movies, maybe for different reasons. Prince of Darkness is kind of a weird one. It tries to present a scientific explanation for spirituality, the existence of good and evil. It's got a kind of it's almost borderline supernatural, but they try to pan it off as it being strictly this is based in science and physics. Mm-hmm. And
oh, magic is just science you don't understand.
Yeah,
But
and
why?
there's a lot of weird stuff to it that like I think they could have gone into more depth in, like, because the premise of the film is that there's this priest that finds this cylinder down in this old monastery, and it's in California,
Mm-hmm.
that has this weird swirling liquid in it. They don't know what it is. More or less, they find out that it's the embodiment of. Oh crap! Like they go back and forth with it. Like it's either supposed to be Satan himself or the son of Satan.
Yeah. I knew it was supposed to be like the embodiment of evil or something like that.
Yep. And so they gather all these scientists together, along with the priest who's there, and to like try to figure out how to. What are they trying to do? I forget. Damn, I feel bad. But no, they like try to like, because there's this book that came with it. They try to translate it, figure out what's in there, and like figure out how to stop it for, to keep it sealed more or less. But yeah, like the movie did freak me out. I do think it still has some pretty good scares in it, and
That's good.
And some like it's very very thought provoking in some ways. Like it has a very like. It has like it's got kind of like an anti-ending because it does present you with like, okay, there's a resolution to what happened here, but also there's not really,
Yeah.
And that I can appreciate. It does have a Lovecraftian feel to it, kind of like The Thing did in a way, where it's like, okay, this is knowledge that was hidden away for a reason. Let's not mess with it.
Yeah.
But we do anyway, or it does of its own accord. Yeah, it's not bad.
Cool.
But yeah, one thing I wish they would have like explained a bit more. It's like when they're like deciphering the book, they're like, "Oh, Jesus Christ was an extraterrestrial, and they crucified him for being a heretic," and they don't expound upon any of that any further. Without going into any other spoilers for the film. But yeah, it's like, you want to explain that part a little bit more? Okay, so Jesus is an alien. Okay,
so is he an alien in the aspect of he came from another planet? Because did Mary come from another planet? Because like we know where he was born. Like people were there at his birth. Like if you're born on Earth, doesn't that technically make you not alien?
I don't know. But yeah, like the whole thing was like he warned us about the goop in the cylinder or something. I don't remember. I need to stop watching these movies when it's like 12 o'clock at night and I'm drunk. No, I'm kidding. I wasn't drunk, but I wasn't. I should have paid better attention.
That's okay.
But it was late.
Yeah.
But anyway, getting into the In the Mouth of Madness. This one I can understand people not liking. It probably is the most. I would say like it's probably the worst movie, quote unquote, even though I still enjoyed it. It is the only one that I would say has very, very hard in the paint supernatural elements to it.
Okay.
Maybe. Because the one thing, I remember reading the back of it and it says The Thinking Man's horror film. It's like, oh shit.
Yeah, as soon as you hear The Thinking Man something, then it's... Ooh.
Hey, that's how you describe Doom Eternal. It's The Thinking Man's game.
Rick and Morty is The Thinking Man's cartoon.
Oh, jeez.
The Boys is The Thinking Man's superhero show. When Homelander says, "Make America Great Again," it's because he's Donald Trump. You probably weren't smart enough to pick up on the political satire, but that's why he did that. Oh boy.
I wish I was retarded.
I wish I was as smart as you, Internet.
No, but anyway, getting back into the film. Basic premise. Sam Neill is this, he's like an insurance fraud guy, and he's sent by a book publisher to find their most popular author who is like disappeared. And it's like he's working on his like latest book, which is called In the Mouth of Madness. And it gets very Lovecraftian and very out there fast.
Yeah.
And kind of like on a side note, apparently I think this film has the first like film appearance of Hayden Christensen.
Oh, really?
For like only like half a second. I didn't even recognize it as him because he's like really freaking young in it.
Yeah.
And this was like the mid 90s. But yeah. So yeah, I think it's worth watching, but
Mhm.
just go in knowing that it might not be something you enjoy.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So maybe start with that one and then watch Prince of Darkness. Or no, actually watch Prince of... just do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
I'm not your dad. And I am not your cell phone. So yeah, that ends horror for me. Son of a bitch. I guess we'll talk about Wilder People for a second since we were mentioning
Oh
Sam
yeah,
Neill
that's
films.
right. Yeah, you hadn't seen that before, had you?
Yeah. It was alright.
Yeah. It's
What's the full title of it?
Hunt for the Wilder People.
Hunt for the Wilder People. New Zealand. It's got the kid from Deadpool 2 in it.
Mm-hmm. It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah,
I like it.
definitely more of like a family movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is a family movie, but it's also not like so family related that like I think it's a movie that like anyone can enjoy. Like
Yeah.
it's a good all around movie.
Yeah. It has almost like a weird like Wes Anderson feel to it.
Yeah,
I don't know how I feel about that because it's a lot more grounded than his films are.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
It is. Yeah, it is. You get some indie vibes and like, oh, look at this cool trick I can do with a camera. You know. But the other thing, I don't know, the thing I like about that movie, there's a lot of things I like, but I like how much of it is filmed
in New Zealand.
Yeah, in New Zealand, in real locations and stuff. You know, like
that is cool.
You get to see like the deserts. I don't know if they're technically deserts, but you get to see the jungles and the mountains and all that stuff.
All the stuff,
Waterfalls.
all the other stuff you didn't see in Lord of the Rings,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much. Yeah. Yeah, it was all right movie. I didn't hate it.
Yep.
Yeah, Sam Neill's all right in it, and as like a old man guy.
Yeah, that's the
like
other
all
thing that
angry.
I like is how you have this old grizzled man who, like, you can tell he sees himself as like a tough mountain man, cowboy-esque type character, and then you have the little kid who sees himself as this tough gangster rapper. And it's just the duality of different generations that friggin' 50 years ago everybody wanted to be these tough cowboys, and now everybody wants to be these tough gangsters. And I mean, deep down inside, neither of them are those really, but
I mean, one more than another.
yeah, definitely one more than
Just
the other.
one gets kind of humbled
Mm-hmm.
in a weird way. Well, I mean, in an unfortunate way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oops.
Fun movie.
Yeah. And then, jeez. Oh yeah, I got another category of films. I forgot another genre of films. It's just titled Bronson.
Hey.
Hey, Pelly. So yeah, I kind of dove into Charles Bronson's filmography a bit, kind of like inadvertently in a lot of ways, but started the year off with The Mechanic. Yes, that movie with Jason Statham is a remake.
What about the one with Christian Bale?
I thought that was The Machinist.
Oh, I think you're right, actually. Yeah,
I don't know if that's a remake or not. It might be based on a book. Who knows? But yeah, so that was the only like, Charles Bronson crime vigilante type film I watched this year. The rest were westerns, which I guess I'll lead with the Charles Bronson westerns I watched because he was in quite a few of them. It was very obviously in The Magnificent Seven.
Mm-hmm.
Was in Once Upon a Time in the Old West, which was, Sergio Leone. Yep, very good. Has an awesome soundtrack. I think it's probably one of my favorite Leone it's got an Ennio Morricone soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
Probably my favorite of his, maybe. Very haunting. Very long ass movie though. I wouldn't recommend starting with it. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. And I saw another one called White Buffalo, which is probably lesser known. It might almost fall under the category of like a monster movie in a way. Basically, Charles Bronson's Wild Bill Hickok, and he has this dream about like this rampaging buffalo that like kills him or something. And he's like traveling around and like being all like covert because there are a lot of people trying to kill him. And then there's this Indian chief, I forget his name. He's based on a real character or a real person too, I think.
Okay, cool.
Yep, and his family like gets killed by the buffalo, and to make them come to peace, he wants to kill the buffalo, and so then like both he and Charles Bronson are trying to hunt it down.
Kind of like Moby Dick, but Western.
Yeah, and it's not the best movie in the world, but it's still I enjoyed it.
Mhm.
The effects for the buffalo are freaking hilarious. Like they are not believable at all, but it gives it some charm. But yeah, like it's sort of an atypical Western in that way. But I don't know. It's not a waste of your time. It's a short movie. Maybe just for a thing. But yeah, well, geez. Yeah, I wanted to talk. No, I didn't want to talk about all the new to me Westerns I saw this year, but I did say I was going to do a deep dive into them, and I did. I watched 20 new to me Westerns this year.
Oh, wow.
Including those 3 that I just mentioned. And I got some notable ones that I'm going to list because we'd be here all day if I talked about them individually. So I saw some John Wayne Westerns, Rio Bravo, True Grit, The Searchers. All of those are held in high regard, like really high regard. Like those latter 2, Rio Bravo and The Searchers, 2 of John Carpenter's favorite films.
Huh, cool.
Yeah. Apparently he's a big Western guy. He's on the commentary for a couple of them too.
That's both surprising and not surprising.
Yeah. The Searchers is a very big cinematography film. Like it's been described to me as like desert porn. Yeah. That is a surprisingly like intense film for the year it came out. Maybe I'll do a video on all the movies individually.
Yeah.
To kind of talk about them in detail because I haven't finished this, but like yeah. So those were pretty good. Searchers is kind of slow. True Grit's like more of like a classic like hell yeah Western. Then Rio Bravo's like more of an actiony one, kind of I would say. It's got Dean Martin in it, which was weird, but yeah. I saw Shane. Another one of those like really like highly regarded Westerns. It's very, very bittersweet film. Yeah, just about a gunfighter that kind of helps a town that's getting, or a group of like farmers that's getting taken advantage of. Yeah. Man, it was forever since I saw that, so I'm blanking on it a bit. But yeah, good. It was good. Then Django.
Did you watch the original Django or
the original Django?
Okay, I
am not talking about Django Unbreaded.
Yeah.
Because like when I mentioned the whole James Rolfe and the thing earlier, like this is the problem that I have with Django, because you cannot search just that and get the original film. You get the Quentin Tarantino film, which I understand what he was going for, because Django Unchained has nothing to do with the original film. At all.
I think Django Unchained is a remake of like 2 blaxploitation films.
Yeah. And some people will say that, Django Unchained, it's a new genre. It's a Southern. It's like, no, it's a blaxploitation, you dumbasses. Stop being pretentious. No. But yeah, like the idea why he took the name in Django is because in the 60s, after the original film came out, which was actually more or less a remake of knockoff of A Fistful of Dollars, there were a whole heap full of movies with the name Django in them. Westerns, to be exact. Spaghetti Westerns. And apparently a lot of them didn't even have a character called Django in them. Or anything to do with the original film, let alone that.
I don't know if I've told you about this, but if you look up the German name for a lot of Godzilla movies, in Germany, they're just really down bad for Frankenstein. So, like, half of the Godzilla movies are called, like, Frankenstein's Monster, Godzilla, or stuff like that. Or they'll just be, like, a random throwaway line in the movie where it's like, oh, the giant spider, it was probably created by Dr. Frankenstein. Like, for some reason. And to be fair, Frankenstein is a monster that exists in the Godzilla continuity. But apparently he exists in every movie in the Godzilla continuity in Germany. It's just super funny. It's just one of those things you have to look up.
Yeah. But just to talk about Django a bit, so yeah, I did say it's a knockoff of Fistful of Dollars in a lot of ways. I found it more enjoyable than Fistful of Dollars. To me, like that's probably my least favorite of the Dollars trilogy. But this one, not bad.
Cool.
He's got a machine gun in it.
Nice.
Yeah, it's cool. Like I would say, and the lead actor in it is awesome. Friggin' Franco Nero. And another unfortunate thing about Django Unchained. Actually, I'll get into that in the movie in the review. But yeah, Franco Nero's pretty cool. He's in Die Hard 2. I found that out this past year. He's the like Spanish general or the South American general.
Oh, okay.
But he's an Italian guy.
That's how it works back in the day.
Weirdly enough, you could still get away with that in the 90s. I don't know. Maybe he's got South American ancestry. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
Or like a Hispanic ancestry. There are other movies like that, but yeah. But yeah, like you can't really throw stones at spaghetti westerns when they're using Italian guys as like everybody. Okay. And then finally, I'm going to talk about The Wild Bunch. This would probably be my pick for like favorite western I saw.
Okay.
If I had to describe it in one sentence, it's Red Dead Redemption, the movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If you're wondering why they haven't made a Red Dead Redemption movie, other than the fact that the games have a shit ton of cutscenes in them, and you probably could make a movie out of just those cutscenes, they already did back in 1969, and it's called The Wild Bunch. Yep. The similarities are like crazy. Like, set in 1913, Red Dead Redemption, set in 1911. So there's a lot of, like, old-timey, like, revolvers and lever-action rifles juxtaposed against modern, like, Mauser rifles and semi-automatic pistols.
Did it create the trope of the death of the Western? How? No, that's kind of a trope where it's not the death of the Western genre, but it's the end of the cowboy period and the last few remaining people who are still
That is a big theme in the movie.
Okay.
It is, yeah. It's a film that's a lot more depressing the more you think about it. It doesn't come off that way. Well, maybe it does in certain ways, but not in like a lingering way. Yeah, a big theme of the film is like the death of the West. Obviously, it's in 1913. Like it's
Industrial Revolution is in full swing.
Yep, like they see an automobile in the movie and they're like, "Oh, what's this?" and stuff like that. It's right the year before the before World War I kicks off, and the modern world is born in a giant explosion that lasts like 30 years. There's a machine gun in it.
Heck
a Browning machine gun. Which might be anachronistic, like the specific model, but who cares?
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. The thing about it, though, it follows the main cast of like, they're not heroes. They're like outlaws, like your main group. And that's kind of where the Red Dead Redemption similarities come in. I mean, you got a guy named Dutch.
Oh, there you go.
They got a former member of the gang that's trying to hunt him down. The railroad's in it, and obviously the railroad's a bad guy because you can't have a Western without the railroad being a bad guy, even though it's cliche. Yeah. Which is kind of funny, too, because, the railroad being a thing.
Yeah, the railroad is why the West existed.
Well, yeah, but
railroad
it's like,
and brothels.
Where the hell else are they going to go? Because it's 1913. Destiny has been manifested.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a film that I would recommend, for a Western. Maybe not one to start with. Maybe I would say Django over that. Mm-hmm. But that's definitely like one of my most favorite films I saw this past year.
Okay.
I would put that way up there. And of course, I saw way more Western films. Maybe I might throw one under the bus later when we talk about the worst of 2023. But
did you by chance watch High Noon?
No, I did not.
Okay, that's okay. I was just curious if you did.
Rio Bravo, I think, was made as a response to that.
I think so.
Because John Wayne was pissed off about how...
He called it the most un-American movie ever made.
Yeah, he was upset about how cowardly everybody was in that. I think that's what it was. And then, the funny thing about Rio Bravo, there are, a bunch of people that are trying to help his character out. He's like, no, go home.
Yeah.
Even though they do... some of them do end up helping. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he and Clint Eastwood weren't the best of buddies. Apparently, or they had spats. I don't know. It's kind of.
I feel like they're two different eras of westerns.
They did entirely different westerns.
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood was more hard edge. a lot of the ways. Like he was definitely more cut from the spaghetti western cloth, where it's like
just a little more, just a little more effed up.
Yeah,
Italians just do everything America does, just a little more effed up. Their documentaries, just a little bit more effed up. Their horror movies, just a little bit more effed up. Their westerns, a little bit more effed up.
I guess I'll mention this one too. Okay, another spaghetti western I saw this year was called The Great Silence. Mm-hmm. This was it was done by the guy who did Django. Sergio. Damn it! What's his last name? There's another Sergio,
doesn't it? Like
no.
Okay.
Ah, dang. Corbucci. That's it. Yeah. Sergio Corbucci, which I guess like that, and he's got an unofficial trilogy. Like 3 films that have nothing to do with one another but are loosely related. This one's the second one, I think. There's another film called The Specialist. So like those 3, Django, Great Silence, The Specialist, they're like the Mud and Blood trilogy. I did not watch The Specialist, unfortunately. But this one, it's set in the snow out west in like Utah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep. And the official ending to it is probably one of the most morose and like it made me sad endings I've ever seen. And I think that would turn a lot of people off from this movie.
Hey, as long as it's in the ending, they don't know if it's sad or not.
And like I think it's some it's probably, I would put it as the most like thought-provoking, like the movie that I thought about the most, like out of all the westerns I saw. Because like I had already seen movies with like deeper themes. Well, maybe not compared to Wild Bunch, but there are movies that I've seen with like deeper themes than this one in the past. Even deeper than like, Wild Bunch. But this one's like, do I like this film? Do I not like this film? And it does have 3 different endings, and there are problems with all 3. It's just one of those movies like, okay, I think I kind of like it, but I wish it was done differently. Yeah. And it's no fault of the cast either. Like, I don't think it's a bad film, but it's just like, I don't know how I feel about it. Damn it. Maybe I'll go into that one more detail. I'll watch it again and try to figure out what the hell I want to say about it.
Yeah.
It's got a Mauser C96 in it, which is cool.
There you go.
And Mormons.
Well, Utah.
They were originally supposed to be Mormons, but they're like not called Mormons in the film now.
That's
just
funny.
Like general like
religious folk, pioneer folk.
They don't even describe them as religious particularly. They're just being persecuted, I think, for some reason. And like, kind of think about that and how that applies to like bounty hunting and stuff like that. Take that to its logical conclusion. You can kind of understand where the film is, what the main conflict of the film is.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. But anyway, that was a movie. And I watched it. Did you watch it? I don't think you did.
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh, no, I was talking to the computer. I didn't know you were there, Robbie.
Sorry.
I thought you had left.
I was thinking about it, but I really wanted to hear about that movie you were talking about because it sounded really good.
Oh, okay. We'll have to watch it sometime, maybe. That and Django and Wild Bunch. And Tombstone. You haven't seen Tombstone, Robbie?
Yeah, that is so stupid. That's been on my list for so long.
We'll watch it tonight.
Okay.
Either that or Prince of Darkness. I don't know.
One of the 2.
Yeah, we'll find out. Yep. So I guess that'll motivate me to do a film on, or a movie, or a video. A video on Westerns, like the ones that I checked out this past year. Just go in a little bit more detail, or maybe I might even turn it into a series, because I mostly enjoyed what I watched. Like, 90%. Let's put it that way.
That must be nice.
Yeah.
not me. I used to enjoy what I watched.
Of just Westerns. Right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, I think all the stuff I saw, like, the thing that was, like, the most, like, meh was Avatar.
Yeah.
Too. And, like, I don't even want to shit on it that much, because I just spent my time checking out things I wanted to check out that actually, like, saying, I might actually enjoy this. Keep that in mind, because that's how the rest of this is going to go.
Yeah.
All right, so we got to move into other stuff.
Hang on, I got a few movies.
Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry, I don't want to step on you.
So
just go ahead.
Yeah. I watched Rings all the way through for the first time. I don't know if I can count that because I'd seen most of it before, but Sorry, not Rings, just The Ring.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Which one? Which version?
The American one. So I was under the impression the American one was just the Japanese one with a few American scenes added to it. I think I got that confused with, what was that movie called? The one with the little ghost boy.
The Grudge.
Yeah, I think I got that mixed up with The Grudge. But, I just want to say that the original American version of The Ring, pretty good. I think it's aged pretty well, especially with, like, how, analog horrors kind of become, like, a lot more popular on YouTube and stuff. This is, like, analog horror before internet videos were even a thing, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And it is one of those movies that if you know the twist, it kind of ruins it. But if you don't, it's a lot of fun, I think. And then the other movie, this one came out last year, but I didn't watch it until this year. Bullet Train. It was a lot of fun.
That came out last year? I thought it came out this year. Damn it. Okay, well,
Yep.
go ahead. Don't
Bullet Train, like, it was one of those movies that you saw the trailer and you're like, that looks like fun, but I bet you it's not fun in real life. No, this movie is so much fun. It's made by the guy who made Deadpool 2, which again kind of surprised me because I mean I like Deadpool 2, but I don't like it that much. And this movie was a lot more fun than Deadpool 2. It's just got a lot of switcheroos where you're not quite sure what's going to happen. And the other thing that's funny about this movie is how many celebrities it has in it. Like even like the very last scene of the movie has like a celebrity cameo. So like as the movie goes on, there's just more and more celebrities popping up. The action is really cool. The jokes are really funny. I mean, if I did have one complaint is that there is like a cringe amount of swearing. So, I mean, like, you are going to get that. But besides that, it's just really fun. I think you should check it out. And, yeah, I think that's where I'm going to end talking about movies.
Neat, because we got to go to bed sometime.
Yep.
Oh, any shows? Because I only have one.
Oh, actually, I got one more movie I need to talk about, sorta.
Go ahead.
I'll talk about a movie that I'm not going to talk about, and that's the new Spider-Verse movie, because that movie does not count, because that movie is only half a movie. And, like, they've been doing part 1 and part 2 for, like, over a decade now with, like, Harry Potter and stuff. This is the first one that's literally just like, oh, the movie's over now. And it's like, well, what about any conclusion to anything in this movie? It's like, oh, you got to watch the next one. Is the next one coming out? Oh, next year? Maybe not. It's just like, I think it is coming out next year now. When I say next year, I mean 2024. But for a little while during the strikes, they were just like, oh, this movie has been postponed indefinitely. And I'm like, very cool. But that's actually a good transition, because I can transition to another show which did the exact same BS. Invincible Season 2. 5 episodes. Zero conclusion.
5 episodes.
5 20-minute episodes. Maybe they are 40 minutes.
Holy shit.
Yeah, they just... And they say the rest of Season 2 is going to come out this year. No release date on any of that stuff. So, I mean, who knows? But, like... Oh, man. Like, I want to praise Invincible Season 2 so much because it had some really good stuff in it. But I kind of can't, because it's like... There's not really any conclusion to any of this stuff. And, like... One thing I will say, it has one of the, like, the most, like... sickest lines in it ever. It's in like one of the later episodes. They're on this alien planet, and the Viltrumites, which are like the race that Invincible is from, are like, one of them says this, like, your people are so weak. All we did was touch them and they died. I'm like, oh geez, if somebody said that to me, I'd be ready to like throw down so hard. That's just so sick. Like, sick isn't cool, but also sick isn't disgusting. So yeah, Invincible Season 2 and Spider-Verse almost get a thumb up, but my thumb got stuck up, and then somebody cut it in half with a sword, because those movies are cut in half.
Yeah. I thought about checking both of those out, and then I remembered I just don't give a shit anymore, and then I didn't.
Yeah.
There's that. Sorry.
Like, well, it's just one
I
of those
haven't
things
watched
where it's...
Invincible Season 1,
Well,
so...
how can you recommend someone to watch something like that? It's like, oh, dude, you have to watch this movie that isn't even finished yet. Like,
I don't know how you can.
Yeah,
that's horrible.
When the second half of those movies come out, assuming... I say movies, I'm Invincible and Spider-Man and Invincible. If Spider-Man sticks the landing, I can 100% say, yes, you should watch these movies. But if it doesn't, you know, like...
Yeah.
Then what's the point, you know? And I think over the past few years, we've all learned to be very wary about how superheroes stick the landing, because there's been a lot of fumbles. So that's too bad. So 2 things I wanted to give praise for, but I can't.
Okay.
But other TV shows I watched, I didn't watch a ton of TV this year. I did watch Loki season 2. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't as good as season 1. It was almost like a totally different show. Just because season 1 was very much like character driven, and this one was much more plot driven. And I don't know if I would say it was bad, because there was a lot of science in it that I don't think I quite understood. So I'm just going to comfortably say maybe it was good. I don't know. I wasn't smart enough to understand the ending. But what I did like is that it was an ending, and according to Tom Hiddleston, he's never coming back as Loki. Like, this was very much how he wanted.
He's free.
Yeah, he's free now. He's
good.
Free. This is how he wanted the character to end up. He got his ending. It's a definitive ending. Just no more. Okay.
Now he can finally be James Bond. Oh wait.
Yeah.
Poor bastard.
I watched 2 Star Wars TV shows this year. I mean, the Star Wars TV shows were definitely better this year than they were last year, with the exception of Andor. But they still weren't great. I almost made a video for Ashoka, but I didn't have enough to say that I felt was unique. The one joke I will say... No, I won't say it. Never mind.
You weren't going to say any gamer words, were you, Robbie?
No, I wasn't going to say any gamer. I was going to make a joke, but to make the joke, I'd have to do some video editing.
Oh.
And
I'm not doing any of that.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
All right.
Yeah.
So the only new to me show that I watched this year was, it wasn't even the full first season, but Deadwood from HBO, which I found out stands for Home Box Office.
Huh. I can't believe I never knew that.
I didn't either, but I wouldn't have known because unless I looked it up, or because they say it at the end of the thing. It's like the production logo or whatever. It's like, oh, that's weird. So Deadwood, it's set in the 1870s in originally a mining camp of Deadwood. Crap, which Dakota is it in? I think it's South Dakota.
Honestly, they should just make them one Dakota.
They should, but anyway, back before it was a state.
Mm-hmm.
So the show, as I understand, is largely about like how a kind of a community turned into a town, and they developed their government and stuff. And it's got a pretty awesome cast. It's got Ian McShane as kind of like one of the lead characters. Damn it, why am I blanking on his name? Dang. Al Swearingen. That's it. Al Swearingen, which I guess, all the characters have a historical basis. I don't think the real guy was English in real life. He didn't speak with an English accent, but Ian McShane does anyway because he's Ian frickin' McShane. It's got I am blanking on names. The guy from Justified.
The Justifier.
No, you know what I'm saying. He's got that face-looking guy, and he has the hat. Okay. Oh man,
I'm googling it. Guy from Justified.
Yeah. You can just search Deadwood. It's probably one of the first names.
That's a good point. No, I'm going to do Justified. Oh, Timothy Elephant.
Yeah, that guy. Okay, yep. Okay. As Seth Bullock, who is just a guy in the beginning, and then he becomes the sheriff of Deadwood. Yeah, friggin' Powers Booth as a rival bar/brothel owner to Al Swearingen. Crap, what's that character's name? I forget, but...
Is it Trixie?
It's like Cy Tolliver, or something. Not Cy Tolliver. It's Cy something.
Oh yeah, Cy Tolliver. You're right.
Cy Tolliver. Then there are also a lot of other well-known actors that show up, but those are the main three that I'll talk about. But anyway, so yeah, it does cover a lot of historical events that happen in the show. You see a lot of noticeable historical figures show up, or figures from history, maybe not overly important.
Calamity Jane's in it.
Yep, Calamity Jane. You got Wild Bill Hickok. You got I think two of the Earp brothers show up, like Wyatt Earp, definitely.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep. And then like I said, most of the characters are either based on real people or are some composite of people that existed there. The one thing about the show that is very historically inaccurate is the dialogue, because it is filled with profanity out the ass. You know that line in frickin' Christmas Story where Ralphie's saying, like, in the heat of battle, my dad wove a tapestry of obscenity.
Yeah.
That to this day is still hangs in space over Lake Michigan. Well, each episode of this show would make enough tapestries to fill all the castles in Europe. It is a sweary show, and anachronistically so, because the F-bomb wasn't used that much back then. It's also not for children. In no way should you... I mean, that should be friggin' apparent. It's an HBO show. But yeah, and like people that don't like... And this is the thing that pisses me off about this show. And I found out about this after the fact, even though I was kind of getting that hint watching it. They apparently have a quota for, like, you know, sex scenes and nudity on, like, HBO shows. And that one, it's apparent, because they just jam them in there. It's like, why was it? What does this have to do with anything?
Yeah.
It's like, so if you can... If there's, like,
it's called Deadwood, not Bone Town.
Give it some Viagra. But yeah, so, like, I don't know, if there's a way to watch it, if it sounds intriguing to you, but you don't want to see any of that, and maybe there's a way to see the censored version of it, like, there might be a censored version of it somewhere.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know. I just bought it on Blu-ray, and I've been watching it that way. But, yeah, it's an HBO show, that's all I'm going to say. And I do want to get through the rest of it, because it is very intriguing. Crap, another guy I forgot. Brad Dourif as Doc Cochran.
Nice.
And holy shit, I did not think that Brad Dourif was a legitimate actor until I saw this movie, or this show.
Huh.
Because he's always, like, he's kind of always been, like, that typecast guy. He's, like, always, like, kind of, like, the weird or, like...
Weird, crazy kind of
character.
guy.
But here, he's, like, he's awesome.
That's all.
Like,
that's
he
so
does an
cool.
awesome job. Like, Brad Dourif, I'm sorry. I know we have never met, and I know I've never disparaged you to your face or your acting ability, but damn. Apparently he's also good in Exorcist 3, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's just a good movie. Maybe not because of him, or I don't know. I only know that because of Civvy.
Yep. I'm trying to think of other... Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've only seen movies of Brad Dourif as a weird guy.
Yeah, Alien 4.
Mm-hmm.
Weird guy. Friggin' Lord of the Rings films. Weird guy.
Yep.
All the Chucky movies. I guess he's a weird guy. But
He's a funny
voices.
weird guy.
Yeah. It's more like that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, you know, there are the other actors that show up too, or people you've seen in things. You're like, oh, that's that guy. Like friggin' Titus Welliver or whatever the hell his name is. You've seen him in things. You've even heard him in things.
Mm-hmm.
Who is Titus Welliver?
Sarah Paulson, that one girl with the weird face who's not Anya Taylor-Joy.
I don't know who you're talking about.
That one.
Holy shit. Okay, I want to make sure I pronounce that other guy's name, because I always don't. Where are you? Oh yeah, Keith Carradine's in it. The Son That Survived. Oh yeah, William Sanderson, the guy who plays, what's his name in the first Blade Runner?
Oh, yeah.
JF Sebastian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Dang. Oh, dang. Timothy Oliphant's early aged.
Yeah, but he looks good in his age.
Yeah. It's a silver fox.
Goals.
Oh, Brad Dourif. What happened, man? It's got Jeffrey Jones in it, too. You know, the principal from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
What the heck?
Yeah. He's the... he's the guy who runs the newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they don't have him on here. The heck? Yeah, like it's like Titus Welliver or something.
Yeah.
You don't know him, but you know him. He's the voice of the Slavic vampire in Castlevania Season 4. The one guy that could fight.
Yep. That was a good vampire.
And I don't know that was him because he used an accent. It's like, that's weird.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Alright, let's move into frickin' games. Holy shit.
Oh, man.
There's a bedtime, Jimmy.
No, we can keep going.
Okay. All right. Let's just make this short and sweet. So, friggin' games. The one that came out this year that both you and I are going to say, yeah, this was good shit. Quake 2.
Quake 2.
The port.
So good.
Yes. I've not played it as much as Robbie has, but I can concur. We played enough co-op.
What's also funny was how it came out a week after the new port for Rise of the Triad came out.
Yeah.
And
which was also surprising. I've not tried it out.
That's as perfect as you can get Rise of the Triad. I feel bad for not playing it very much.
Yeah.
Because I played it for a week and then Quake 2 came out and then I played Quake 2 forever. But also, I mean, Rise of the Triad, it's one of those games that's, it's not an easy game to play through because it's like a boatload of levels, just so many levels, and the levels aren't that advanced. But
it's the Quake of like the old style DOS shooters because it's like mainly about like rocket.
Yeah, it's
weapons.
Crazy. It's crazy how different it is from the other shooters. Like you can only have like a certain amount of weapons, and you can jump around and fly around and stuff. So it is really fun, and it's really cool that it got that much love.
Yeah. That's something I want to see more. Not necessarily remakes of games, but like updated ports so you can at least play them.
And what I like when they let you play it in the original format. Like Quake, again, is the perfect example because you can play the updated version of Quake and Quake 2, but you can also, when you load it up, you have the option of just loading the base original version, like the DOS version for Quake 1.
Right.
Because I don't know if you got this over the holiday break, but I got the Metal Gear Solid Master Chief Collection. And I see why it's controversial, because you load it up and it's literally just like playing a PS2. And one, I'm very glad that form still exists, but it would be kind of nice to have a slightly updated version where you could, have more save spots and stuff like that. Also, it just didn't run very well, and that could be something on my side.
Yeah.
But I feel like my computer from 2017 should be able to run a game from 1990...
98.
Yeah, 98, so...
Yeah. It's like the second and third game should be based on the HD collection, which came out in the early 2010s. Mm-hmm. And those were updated to like 720p, 60 FPS, but there can still be like, porting issues with that.
What I do love about the Metal Gear Solid Master Chief Collection, it's called the Master Collection, but come on, we all know, is that when you load it up, you get to choose which version of the game. It comes with a whole bunch of different versions of the Metal Gear Solid games, so you can play it in the Japanese version or the special edition version or whatever. Again, I'm very, very new to the Metal Gear Solid franchise. I'm just starting to get into it, so forgive me if I don't quite say stuff weird, but yeah. So, I mean, I'm super, super happy those games are on PC now and everything else, because those were dying for a release. I'm kind of sad that they couldn't have been at least a little modernized, or at least given the option to do that. GoldenEye, that pisses me off, because you have to pay like a service to play it. Honestly, when we talk about video games, we really just talk about re-releases of games. Re-releases of shooters.
Yeah.
But Bolt Gun was my number one anticipated game last year that I did not play this year. But hey, it looks cool.
What about Dusk HD?
Ah, jeez. Look, I get that you guys own Dusk and you can do whatever you want, but I really have no interest in playing Dusk in HD. Like, that just seems...
It was already in frickin' HD.
Yeah, I mean, it was already in frickin' HD. Like, what if we made this game that's stylized to be pixelated to look like a... I don't know. It just looks cursed. And not in the good way. Like... you just like what makes those I forget what they're called, like the crazies or the screechers or something. What makes those guys so creepy is because they're so pixelated and stuff and weirdly shaped that your imagination fills in the gaps of what they should look like.
Yeah.
In the HD version, they just look lame. It's just lame. Just don't do that.
The one thing I will give them credit for, I don't know why I thought this, but I thought it was going to be a re-release that you had to pay for separately, but it's just an update that you can switch on and off.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, that is very nice. So,
yeah. Keep finishing.
So yeah, it's like I would prefer to just play it with the original graphics, because I haven't played it yet.
Okay. Speaking of game re-releases that were disappointing, Half-Life 1 25th Anniversary Edition. I was so excited when I found out they were doing an update for it to kind of modernize it. Now that I've played it, you guys, you should have just gotten Night Dive to do it. Like, I'm sorry, like, yes, this one did technically fix a lot of things, but also, like, it's still so jank. And, like, the multiplayer, I couldn't get it to work. It used to work, but now that they have the update, I can't get it to work. And there's still no level select. Like, there's just a whole mountain of obvious things they should have put in this re-release that they didn't. And I'm disappointed in you, Valve. I mean, I'm happy that you remastered one of my favorite games, but you could have. I feel like you could have done more. Like, there's still no PC release for Half-Life Decay. You know,
that is weird.
Yeah, like, how hard would it have been to release that as well? The documentary they made was really good, though. They made a really good Half-Life documentary. But besides that, I was very disappointed by the Half-Life re-release. And that's not to say that it's bad, but for how much I love Half-Life, I was really hoping for something more. But nope, you should just play Black Mesa instead. So,
All right. I know we're going to have one that we're going to talk about a lot, so let's save that for the end.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what it is.
Yep.
And everybody else probably knows what it is because we talked about it for our Halloween recommendations. But I'm just going to rocket through some of the new to me stuff real quick. I finished off Blood Fresh Supply. I played Cryptic Passage and Postmortem. They weren't bad. I think I liked Postmortem better than Cryptic Passage because it added new enemies. Didn't really add any new weapons, I don't think. Which is interesting. But yeah, so not overly memorable, but still, like, it was fun to finally beat the game, I guess. Because I had only recently done that last year. The end of last year, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, and then, let's see what else. Holy shit. Speaking of old, like, DOS games, System Shock. I played the enhanced edition of that.
So have you beaten System Shock?
I have not.
Okay.
I kind of dabbled with it, and truth be told, I did that with a lot of games this year.
Mm-hmm.
I made decent progress in it. I just haven't finished it. The unfortunate part about that port, which was handled by Night Dive, is that it is kind of broken at the moment.
I think it was the first one that Night Dive did too, so you have to give them a little bit of slack.
Okay. Yeah, I think it definitely put their name on the thing, but like there's performance issues. I don't know if it's dependent on hardware or not, but the way that I hear it from most people, they have a stuttering problem on the game. Like the view window in the world, like it doesn't run smoothly, and that's the case for me. You can kind of do some things to make it a little bit more smooth, but it's not like perfect. And apparently that the reason that problem came about is because they had a big fix, like a big patch that actually fixed the enemy behavior. So now the enemies behave properly, but you have that stuttering issue, which is kind of funny and also sad. And they haven't fixed it, and it's been like that for a few years now. It's kind of unfortunate, but maybe they might look at it now since they got the remake out this past year. Another game I picked up that I didn't play, but it looks cool. I saw some gameplay of like a stream of it, and I'd say maybe pick that up if you have a PC, because it hasn't come out on any other consoles yet, as far as I know, any other platforms.
Yep.
Even though it's stated to. Hunted and Plutonia, the only amount of Plutonia that I played. Obviously, you saw it on stream.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to finishing that at some point. Hopefully having Rob around, so it's not just me talking to myself.
Yep.
It'll be a fun time. Hitman World of Assassination. This could almost be counted as a new this year game, because it is a repackaging of the last, the latest trilogy of Hitman games.
Mm-hmm. Starting
with just generically titled Hitman, Hitman 2, and Hitman 3. It's actually repackaged Hitman 3, so it's kind of confusing on Steam. You'll see some. I was like, oh, they're playing Hitman 3. But no, you're playing World of Assassination. It is kind of new because they added a new mode to the game. I think it's like the game overall. It's like a roguelike, where it just sends you into the different maps in the game, which are gigantic. You gotta whack a specific NPC. There are like a lot more hostile NPCs. There's people you can buy weapons from. I forget like what the elements exactly of it are, the roguelike aspects. I think you lose weapons and equipment. You lose money if you like fail to eliminate a target or if they escape. But yeah, Hitman is it's a series I've known about for a long time, but I'm just finally checking out. And I would say, if you're in a similar boat, you want to check it out, check out this latest trilogy. Because the older games, like, you might be like I used to be, like, oh, I want to play the first one. The first one is a bitch to get running on a modern system. You got to finagle with it quite a bit. You got to it won't fit modern resolutions or like aspect ratios. You got to do something to fix that with Notepad of all things. Then you find out that the HUD's too small. You can't read it. So you got to find something to fix that. There's a lot of junk you got to do. I wasn't able to do it. And then you find out there are like physics issues in the game.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I haven't checked out the other two following it. I think Hitman Blood Money, the fourth game, is supposed to function properly. And then I heard Hitman Absolution's a piece of shit to avoid it. But then this other trilogy is actually pretty darn good if your computer can run it. It's like the best of... Yeah, it's like what you would want.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, I think Greg would enjoy that game a lot because you whack a lot of bad hombres that do a lot of bad stuff. Technically, you are a bad hombre because you're working for some bad hombres, but you're whacking even badder ones. They do nasty stuff.
Oh yeah.
And that's the funny thing about the roguelike mode. You actually pick syndicates to go after, even though it's just like generic NPCs in the environment. And it's like, oh, this one does organ harvesting, or this one works for big pharma. This one,
I don't know which one's worse.
This one does psyops. And yeah. And then apparently the ones in the main story are also pretty... You go after some pretty effed up people. So yeah, I haven't played much of it. I played the tutorial and it was really fun. It's almost too helpful. Because it is nice to like figure out what you can and can't interact with, but when it's like telling you, oh, you can assassinate this way, or hey, do this, dumbass. Yeah. But yeah, it's I'm looking forward to getting through the rest of that.
That's cool. That's actually really good to know.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I've always, I don't know, Hitman's one of those franchises that I've almost like not been interested in just because there's so many games and it's not like they're all numbered. Like it's who knows which ones are the ones you're supposed to play, but that's good to know.
Yeah. It's confusing too, but fortunately the earlier games, unlike, like Doom and Doom 2016, like the first game, it has a subtitle. It's Hitman Codename 47. Like you're not going to confuse it with Hitman from 2016.
Yeah, that's actually cool.
And then Hitman 2, the original Hitman 2 is Hitman 2 Silent Assassin. Another Hitman 2 is just Hitman 2, like 2019 or whatever. And then Hitman 3, well, the original was just Hitman Contracts. So it's not as confusing. Maybe with Hitman 2 it's a little bit more annoying, but yeah, you just got to know a little bit. But I would say just start with the recent trilogy.
Okay.
And then as far as other things I kind of dabbled with, I bought Thief, the original Thief.
Oh, okay.
Did not play it. I bought it on GOG because I heard that's the best way to do it. I also bought all the Deus Ex games. I did try to play the original one without like any modifications.
Did you buy any of them for me? Because I think Deus Ex is in my Steam library now, and I'm not sure why. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was referring to that in System Shock as all these freaking weird names to you and Greg, and you're like, what the hell are you talking about? It's like I referred to System Shock as like Learn to Code Simulator 1994, or like I have no bleep and I must bloop Simulator 1994. Friggin' Deus Ex, what was that? It was like, I can't believe it's not 2023. It's Simulator 2000.
If you don't know the conspiracy about that game, look it up. Look up Deus Ex 9/11. Just
Deus Ex is like, that's the
Simpsons of video games.
It's the game that Metal Gear Solid 2 wanted to be. Let's put it like that.
Yeah.
That's one criticism I hear of like Metal Gear Solid 2, and I can understand it. But like, yeah. It's like the basic premise I've heard from it, it's like, how about we take all of the conspiracy theories, like, you know, the like general big ones that you've heard, and they're all true.
Yeah.
And work with that. So yeah, I bought that entire series. I do want to get into it, but I think it's another issue of the original game just not running that well on modern hardware.
Mm-hmm.
There is a mod called, what's it called? Because it's got a Steam page. It's like, it's not Redux. It's something along those lines, though. But I heard not to use that because it modifies the maps in ways that it's not like the original. So there's probably a source port or something equivalent that you can use, or a special launcher. That's honestly, that and its sequel are honestly games that should probably get a modern port.
Yeah.
If I had to say. Same with, like, you know, the Max Payne games and even Thief.
Mm-hmm.
The Thief games, because I think those all have issues running on modern software. And the Hitman games. Like,
yeah.
There's more games I'd rather see get modern ports than remakes.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's get into the big one.
Actually, I have one I have to mention.
Okay.
Sigil 2, baby. It came out on time. That's how you know we're in the end times. But
oh no,
it's fine. I mean, I only played through it on co-op. That's how I usually play Doom, especially for like the newer stuff. And it's more of the same. I remember I played through it on Hurt Me Plenty, and it seemed like it was more forgiving than Sigil 1 was. But it's been so long since I played Sigil 1 that I don't even remember if I played through on UV or Hurt Me Plenty or how I played it. But I remember in Sigil 1, there was a lot of like moments that just really pissed me off. Well, like, pissed me off in a good way, but like still, like, there was a few ball-busting parts in that, and there wasn't as many in this one. But it's good, you know. The music is good, the map layout is fun. I think it's if you're a fan of Doom, you've probably already played, or at least you know about it.
Yeah.
But it's cool that John Romero is still doing stuff for the community. Like, that's just so cool.
Yeah. I hope he does that one Doom 2 thing that he was talking about. Maybe start smaller than a 32 megawatt map megawatt, but yeah. I'm not going to check Sigil 2 out until I beat the original on UV. I've still not done that yet. But I'll probably be talking about that next year.
The other thing is that was like the only thing this year to commemorate the 30th anniversary of Doom. And like, I'm glad that something did, but I was kind of disappointed that there wasn't more for that. But that's how it is.
Maybe
I get that Bethesda's kind of in a weird spot because they were bought by Microsoft a few years ago and they're still going through weird stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they had something on Doom Eternal, but I wouldn't know because I haven't booted that up in like 3 years.
I did boot it up for like 5 minutes, and no, there's nothing new.
Sad.
Yep.
Okay, I guess I have a Doom mod that I checked out too, besides, I guess, well,
yeah,
Hunted. Knee Deep in Z-Doom. I started playing that. I'm like 3 or 4
No, are
maps
you knee deep in Z-Doom, or are you knee deep of Z-Doom?
The original.
The original,
Knee Deep in
okay.
Z-Doom. The one that's supposed to be played in Z-Doom.
Okay.
I will be checking out Knee Deep in Z-Doom, but I want to play through the original first so I can...
So how much of that did you play through when we were in high school? Because I played through some of it.
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to remember.
I feel like that was... Because I remember there was like a CD you gave me, which I still have, that had a bunch of WADs and I think mods on it too, and I think that was one of them.
Yeah, it probably was.
So I wasn't sure how much you had touched it. I remember touching it a bit, but also kind of like, this is... I'm still baby Doom at this point, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like, this is a little out of my league. I should do other stuff and then come back to this.
Yeah. I had played through, well, obviously Ultimate Doom by that point.
Yeah.
But only on like Xbox 360. I actually didn't own Ultimate Doom when the first time I played Knee Deep in Z-Doom. And it was back before they had the version that will like yell at you if you're running it with Doom 2. Because it does that now.
Yeah.
Like I started up with Doom 2. I didn't even put 2 and 2 together for that. It's like, it's like, hey, dumbass, you're running this with Doom 2. But anyway, I don't know how far I got into it because the maps are long
Yeah, I remember the maps being very long.
And yeah, like they're not as familiar. I think
that was the first WoD I played that kind of showed me how far you can take modern Doom modding.
Yeah.
And I know that one sort of gets clowned on a little bit, I think, in the community. But, I don't know, as Baby Doom, which is what I was at that point, it was really cool to see, how good of environments you could make and how you could do mirrors and you could do swimming and stuff like that. Like, it was very impressive to me.
In a lot of ways, it's like a tech demo for ZDoom.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I'm not playing it in ZDoom, I'm playing it in GZDoom.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, like, yeah, that's what it does best. Like, as far as, like, the map design, I like maps where you can explore a lot and such, but just the handful I've been in through so far, like, it's like, this is, like, almost too much for me. And some of the secrets, too, holy hell. Like, to get to the secret map, it's like, how is anyone supposed to figure this shit out? Like, really. Like, there are visual cues in a lot of ways, but sometimes things just don't, like, it's almost like they don't want to function. Like, I don't know if that's just me or whatnot, but, yeah, man, that was a pain. And, like, the enemies, like, the additional ones don't work too well. You feel like you're definitely underpowered, or, like, you don't have a lot of firepower in the earlier stage of the game. Like, you do get access to a super shotgun at some point, and there's a secret, like a rifle you can get that's more powerful, but, like, I don't know when you get those. And it's kind of weird to have a super shotgun in a episode that's supposed to be, well, a map set that's supposed to be based on an episode from Doom 1.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So yeah, we'll have to see. I am enjoying it in some ways, but in other ways it's like, this is a little too much.
Yeah. I guess I played MyHouse.wad. I already talked about that during the Halloween one, so I won't spend much time. But yeah, that's a cute little project.
Yeah.
And what's nice about that one is that it's not one that you really have to beat because there's so many different endings. As long as you just play it and play around with it, then you're good.
Yeah, that's definitely on the back burner for me.
Mm-hmm.
If I ever attempt Plutonia after that. Yeah, that's really all I had as far as, like, well, video games other than the one.
Yep, the one.
You all know what it is, because, like usual, we talked about it at Halloween.
We made a video about it, too. Well, I made a video about it.
Yeah, and it was fun.
Yep. Resident Evil 4. Good game. It was so good they remade it this year, and we still haven't touched the remake.
I bought it. I have still only played the Chainsaw demo from March.
Yeah.
So it's like, I was waiting for it to go on sale. That was the big thing.
I'll tell you what, though. I love Resident Evil 4 so much. I am so excited to see what they're going to do for the next game, Resident Evil 5.
I don't know what they're going to do anymore, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm glad I finally got to play through Resident Evil 4. I don't know why I had been putting it off for so long. A version of it is actually the first Resident Evil game I ever played. It was on iOS.
Oh, what the heck?
Yeah, like a port for iOS. Like, I think it was based on a different, like...
Was it like a rail shooter, or was it like... Huh.
It was over the shoulder. It was very, very simplified. Like, it used, like, Nintendo DS graphics. But it was fun for what it was. And the Mercenaries mode on it was actually really fun, too. It's just not listed anymore, so you can't play it.
Yeah.
But, so I knew the basic, like, beats of the story. Like, it does cut a lot out, and there are characters that just pop up randomly. It's like, who the hell is this guy?
Yeah.
And then you find out who he actually is when you play the real game. That's kind of
how it is in the base game as well.
Yeah.
Agent Krauser.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about Krauser.
I liked Krauser.
I do. I did, too. It's like, hey, do you own a Nintendo Wii? The hell's a Nintendo Wii?
Yeah.
You learn when you're older, kid.
Nighty nights.
Yeah, but, yeah, the thing, Resident Evil 4 is a good example of, like, a good, like, well, maybe not a good, I think it's the game that, like, brought a lot of normies to the series, because it so radically changes the gameplay. Like, it's categorized as a survival horror game. I don't think it meets that criteria.
I would call it a horror action game is what I would call it.
It's a horror shooter, yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. It actually, like, brought a lot to the table for third-person shooters.
It's great, and it's still scary. I mean, it's not It's not nearly as scary as like the old Resident Evil games, but it doesn't need to be. Like,
Yep.
It's scary when it needs to be, but it's also just a lot of fun. And, you know, it's so much fun. I'm playing through it again right now, actually.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I like it.
Yep, it definitely has a very deliberate pace to it. It's not a shooter where you can just like run in and gun every way down.
Yeah,
but it definitely rewards precision, and like maybe that's where like people are thinking, oh, it's more of a survival horror game. It has 1 foot. The way I would describe it, has 1 foot still in survival horror, crossing the door all the way into action, because survival horror derives from action. That's how it is, but. It's just not as actiony. Like, combat is more of a choice in survival horror. And here, it is, like, not a choice at all. Usually, you have to do it.
But it's just fun. I just like it so much.
Yeah, and, like, the little bits that I know about the remake and, like, what I played, I do like some of the quality of life stuff, but on the other hand, it just seems like the game had, like, the life sucked out of it. The character. Yeah. Like, they tried to make it way too serious and, like, too realistic and gritty. And, like, that's just, to me, that's not fun. And you can level that complaint against the other 2 remakes and maybe even the, Resident Evil 7 and 8. It's like, yeah, it's kind of like losing a lot of its B-movie appeal by not, like, being trying to be too realistic.
Yeah, and I'm going to quote the patron saint of gaming, Gabe Newell, here, but realistic isn't fun. Real life is realistic. Why would I play a video game if it was realistic? And I know he was talking about something a little bit different, but I don't know. It's just Resident Evil is more fun when it's being campy and cheesy, I think. That's just how I feel.
Yeah. That's why the first game's still like my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that's because I haven't played all the way through Remake 1, but
Yeah.
Yeah, like I just, the premise was so much more simple, and it's not like the premise of 4 is bad or anything.
No,
it's still like a enjoyable game.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, like it's got so many homages to horror movies and stuff that I like, and it's just fun. Like, yeah. Anything good you've heard about this game is probably true. Anything bad you've heard about it might be a little overhyped.
Yeah. Or you just gotta, like, look at it in a certain way.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, I'll admit it has faults somewhere. It is awkward to, like, not be able to move and shoot, but that's kind of how the game is supposed to be. The inventory system's kind of annoying.
Mm-hmm.
You can't swap weapons, which I guess the remake fixes.
Ashley is annoying, but she's not in the game very much. I mean, she's in it a lot, but not for the majority of the game. For the majority of the game, you're not with Ashley.
Yeah.
The fight with the big fish isn't that bad.
Yeah, that wasn't as bad as I thought it'd be.
Yeah. Again, that was one that was like overhyped to me as a kid. Like, I just remember watching old YouTube videos like, the fight with the big fish is one of the worst boss fights in video game history.
Yeah. The only problem is if you're playing it on PC and you don't have the game modded, the QTEs with that will kill you. Like, any of the QTEs are way more likely to kill you because you have to press the button faster. It's tied to the frame rate. I don't know why it would be like that with like a GameCube game. You think it would just be...
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Yeah, that is really weird. But yeah, mods fix that. But I made it through without it, so yeah. Then as far as board games go, Pendragon's the thing. Thumbs up.
Yep.
I think I enjoy it a bit more than I enjoyed Infection at Outpost 31. It's easier to get to the table, and it feels like it's easier to teach, even though it's a more complex game.
Oh, that's interesting, because I actually feel the other way.
Oh, really?
I actually liked Outpost 31 more, but...
Oh, well.
Yeah. They're both good.
I would say the instruction manual is probably better for Outpost 31.
I would say that, too. I would say most instruction manuals are better than...
Like, the one for Pendragon's the thing is, like, very... Well, I mean, the company that made it is, like, Italian.
Yeah,
or, like,
so it's
European.
expected.
So it's not formatted good. They did have a revised version, like a PDF on their website in English. I've not looked at it yet, so I don't know if it improves everything that well, but I don't know. I still enjoyed it, but I don't know. Like, 31 still has its place. And then another game I tried was Risk Strike, which is a card game variant of Risk. where you're more or less just fighting over like cards that represent the different continents, and you need a certain number to dominate them. And you have to have cards from a specific continent to attack another or to attack the same one. And it's a very fast game. Like,
that's cool.
We were learning it. Like, I was playing it with 3 other people. We were learning it. Only lasted 30 minutes. Because you only need to dominate 2 continents.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know if there's like a variant you can do where you can dominate more and it takes longer, or if that would screw with the balance of the game. But it was, it's a fast game. You still use dice. You still do combat in more or less the same way. Then Axis and Allies. Played 1941 and revised by myself. So I could teach them to other people.
Yep.
I actually enjoyed 41. I hear that one gets shit on a lot because it's really, really simplified. But I actually find it's good for solitaire. And might even be good for a 2-player game. Because there's less crap to move around.
Mm-hmm.
And it'd probably be easier to teach like just one other person. Hey, here's how you play this game. There's less stuff to worry about. Less unit types. Stuff like that. You don't get a full lot of components in the box. Like, you might want to try to buy a beater copy online.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you own multiple, like, different versions of Axis and Allies, just bring pieces from another game. But, yeah, it's not bad. And then Revised is pretty much like a very stock standard version of the game. It's, like, it wasn't bad. I didn't get through a full solo game of it, thank goodness. That would have been rough. But yeah, I hope to get those to play those with other people someday. Same with the World War I game, which I read through the rule book.
Mm-hmm.
Almost got a solo game in, or like tried to start one, but I didn't. That one, it will be awesome if we could get like 5 other people to join us.
Yeah. Have you played the Resident Evil 1 board game yet?
I have not. Crap, I forgot about that.
Okay. I have. It's really fun. I like it. I haven't done like a full true campaign yet, but I have done some of the scenarios, and it's fun. I mean, obviously it is a lot of rules, but as long as one person knows all the rules, I think you should be safe, which is what I like. It's both complex and easy at the same time.
Yeah, it's I haven't gotten to like look through it a lot, but I think this one's like the best of both worlds for like the different approaches you can take to the game. Mm-hmm. Because on one hand, Resident Evil 2, the first game in the series, a lot of people say that's better for like playing the individual scenarios and not doing a campaign. 3 is definitely much more geared towards playing a campaign, but the individual scenarios are kind of lacking. This one feels like you can do either.
Mm-hmm.
And that's cool.
Yeah, I know, it is cool.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think it has a lot of like add-ons to it and like expansions, like compared to 3. 3 is probably the best like bang for your buck, but if you're, I don't know, the other downside being like not being able to do solo scenarios, it's like, depending on what you want to do, like, I don't know, like this one still might just be the best one to get. It's like you can go whichever way you want. I don't know. Mm-hmm. It is kind of awkward that they cut big portions out of the game and then made them expansions if it's meant to be a campaign type game. But like, yeah, you just kind of arrive at the end. At least they didn't cut the final boss out of the core box like they did for 3. That was kind of weird. I do look forward to playing it. I haven't played it yet because I didn't have sleeves for it, but I got some for Christmas for the cards, and I just got to sleeve it, and then I'll start doing it. I got to find a place to set it up, too. Holy crap. That's another issue. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. That and the 1,000 other games I picked up this year, not just board games. Holy Moses. Wow.
Yeah, this has been going on for a while.
Alright. Do we want to cut out game birthdays this year? We already mentioned Doom was 30.
Yeah. No, let's just shotgun through them real quick.
Okay. I'm going to do my list real quick. these are in no particular order because I kind of shotgun threw them on the list. So Castlevania Rondo of Blood and Castlevania Chronicles, the original Sharp X68000 game. They're both 30 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Haunted Castle, a arcade version of Castlevania, 35. Castlevania's Area of Sorrow and Lament of Innocence are both 20. And then Order of Ecclesia is 15. Then Doom is 30.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want me to keep going on my list?
Yeah, go through your list.
Wolfenstein Enemy Territory, which was it was supposed to be a multiplayer expansion to Return to Castle Wolfenstein.
Mm-hmm.
That ended up being a free-to-play game. Multiplayer game is 20. Resident Evil 2 is 25. Space Invaders is 45. Super Mario 3 is 35. Mortal Kombat 2 and Samurai Showdown 1 are both 30. And then Half-Life, Metal Gear Solid are both 25. I think you might have the others on my list. I'm going to remove the ones that you would have from mine so you can say them. Max Payne 2 is 20. Silent Hill 3 is also 20. Guilty Gear, the original game on PlayStation 1, is 25. And then the North American version of Guilty Gear X2 Accent Core Plus R is 10.
Gotta love those Japanese names.
There were a couple others that were Guilty Gear games that came out in Japan on divisible by 5 years, but I didn't want to put those in because there'd be too many. There's 2 other games.
All right. So on my list, Call of Duty World at War.
Yes.
15. Still one of the best Call of Duty games. GTA 5, 10 years old.
And GTA 4 is 15.
Yeah, it's just weird because I still feel like Call of Duty 5 is new, but it's not. It's not at all. Mirror's Edge, the original one, 15 years old. Call of Duty 1, the original Call of Duty, 20 years old. Holy
crap, I forgot about that one.
Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, 20 years old. I feel bad that I didn't beat it this year because I've been playing... I'm at the very end of that game, and then I kind of stopped. I feel like I probably should have beat it because it was the 20th anniversary, but I didn't know. But yeah, KOTOR 20th. Star Wars Jedi Academy, probably one of the most underrated Star Wars games, 20 years old. The PC version of Halo 1, the original Gearbox port of it, turned 20 years old as well this year, which is also a very underrated port of the game because it added a lot of really cool stuff like the flamethrower, and some of the best multiplayer maps in Halo history came from that port. Those might be hot takes, but it's true. StarCraft, 25 years old. Rainbow Six, 25 years old. The game, probably not the books. I don't know what the relationship between those two are, but I always assumed the book came out first.
Right.
Sonic Adventure 1, 25 years old.
Why?
I don't know. I played that one a lot as a kid. I played the director's cut, which is actually the inferior version of it, and it had some charm to it. Yeah. Unreal, 25 years old. I never played the original Unreal games, but I played Unreal Tournament because it was a fun game. Too bad it's been scrubbed from the internet. Godzilla NES, 35 years old. And Mario Bros, 40 years old.
The original.
Yep.
Which I don't know how I missed that one. I got Super Mario Brothers 3 though.
Yeah.
2 others of note, since I mentioned Metal Gear Solid, and since I kind of like stealth games, and I would be crucified for not mentioning these other 2. Thief and Tenchu. Oh crap! What's the subtitle to it?
Mm-hmm.
Tenchu. Tenchu's a PlayStation 1 game. Both are 25. They came out the same year as Metal Gear Solid.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like Stealth Assassins. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I got another game I picked up but did not play this past year. Tenchu. Another dormant series. Alrighty. So we'll rock it through books and comics real quick. Didn't really make any progress with Lovecraft this year, but I did go a bit more into M.R. James. Don't really want to go into detail on that because I mentioned some of his stories in my Halloween recommendations. Same with Junji Ito. The Deserter collection is what I read of his. The one I have to recommend hands down, the story I have to recommend hands down from there is probably Village of the Sirens. Yeah.
Yeah.
Read a lot of nonfiction too.
Oh, that's cool.
Read a book called Narratives of Barbary Captivity from the Barbary Wars, which is like a couple accounts of of American captives who were held by the Barbary states. I think one of them was held by the what was it called at the time? Algiers. Then the other was by Tripoli, maybe. I forget. So old-timey kingdoms in North Africa.
Yeah.
The early 19th century. Yeah. Because that's a war that doesn't get talked about a lot
it doesn't.
at all. Because they were very short. I did not realize that. But they are very interesting. Because America went to war because of pirates, kind of. And cool. State-backed pirates. And didn't piss off the Ottoman Empire in the process, which is surprising.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'd like to read more about that. I got a couple other books on the Barbary Wars, but yeah. And I read a book called Blood and Iron, which is about the German Empire from 1878 or 68 all the way till the end of World War I, when it went belly up. It was a very interesting read. I don't know enough about it to know if it was skewed in any sort of way, but I would like to read more on the subject because the world going into the 20th century, just the history of it going into World War I, is starting to fascinate me a lot more, just because it explains so much where we ended up.
Yeah.
And now we're still making mistakes. Same with World War II. It just makes me sad. And then, I guess, Who Goes There?
Mm-hmm.
That was fun to finally read, to see how the two movies that are based on it kind of line up. Especially since I love John Carpenter's The Thing a lot, and how that's supposed to be more faithful. You can't see, but I'm using quotation marks.
Yeah.
And is not as faithful. It's maybe 20%. Yeah, that it was a good read, and it's definitely more of a science fiction story than anything.
Mm-hmm.
I think it definitely succeeds in that aspect. Maybe not as much as a horror story, even though things that happen in it are horrific. But I don't know. You see different aspects of that in the two films. Mm-hmm. I also read a book called Cross of Iron.
There you go.
World War II, the Eastern Front, about a group of Germans that are on the retreat. More or less. The reason I checked this out is because of the film, which has one of the most badass movie posters I have ever seen in my freaking life. It was directed by the guy who did The Wild Bunch, which was kind of coincidental. But I have no idea how I heard about it. But I found out it was a book, and it's I'm hearing people say, "Oh, the book is way better," but and then there are people the movie's awesome. And,
what is it? Was this one right here with the guy crawling?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and it's I've heard it described as the World War II equivalent of All Quiet on the Western Front, and I would have to say that that's pretty apropos. It's not as pensive as that book is, but yeah, it's still brutal. It's it kind of it kind of comes off as a more of a traditional story. It's not a war novel, but then it reminds you the enlisted and the officers are button heads, and horrible shit is happening. The characters you're reading about are they're German soldiers, even though none of them. I don't know. You get the idea that they're not kind of when you're on the front in the shit. There's not many people goose stepping.
No.
I don't know, but still, it reminds you that it kind of plays with your it plays with you. It's it lures, gives you a false sense of security, and then it's this is a war novel, bitch. This character that you're that you think you care about, he's dead.
Yeah.
And like I hate that about war novels, but I don't know. This one I can almost sort of half tolerate. I did try to watch the movie, did not get all the way through it because it was too frickin' late.
Yeah.
But I will be watching it this year. Yeah.
All right. So you have any more, or am I good?
You are good. If you have any books,
Yeah, I do. So
go ahead.
I didn't read nearly as many books this year as I did last year, but
Same.
I mean, I could talk about the textbooks I read at school, but
No.
I'm done with that. So one thing I finally finished was I was finally able to read through the entire X-Men Phoenix saga, which that was something I started like my freshman semester of college. But now that I have finished it, I'm kind of confused why they wanted to adapt it into a movie twice. Like, I get that it is kind of iconic, but it also, like, the actual, like, specifically the Dark Phoenix thing doesn't really work for me. It's pretty stupid. So, if Disney wants to reboot the X-Men franchise, you can leave that one alone. But to be fair, there's a lot of good smaller arcs within the huge, longer story. And it's really interesting. What I do like about the X-Men comics is that it's a team of superheroes, and it's a pretty big and a rotating team. So, like, you get a lot of good character moments between the characters interacting and stuff. And, like, I mean, some of those, like, characters are just so much fun to read. And, like, it's funny, too. Like, there's one where they get sent to hell, and then, what's his name? Peter Rasputin, Colossus. He's like, man, I sure am glad I'm atheist. just little moments like that are just always fun. But, I mean, overall, there's some really good smaller story arcs in there. Specifically the ones with Wolverine having to fight the Canadian version of the Avengers. And, yeah, there's this...
The hell?
I think they're called Alpha Flight. And the leader of them, his name is Vindicator. But, like, most people know him as Captain Canada because he's just a Canadian version of Captain America. Like, he's got like a big red and white suit with a big maple leaf on it. And like, what's cool about it is, well, actually, they're kind of offensive when you think about it. Like, one of them's like Sasquatch, and then the other one is like a shaman. Like, one of them's a hockey puck. Like, it's kind of an offensive depiction of Canadians, but that's part of the charm of it. And what I like about them is how they're like superheroes, but they're also the antagonists, because their whole thing is they're trying to steal and kidnap Wolverine and bring him back to Canada so he can work for the Canadian government. So, like, they're not really bad guys, but what they're trying to do isn't right. And what's fun about Wolverine is how, especially at this point in the comics, like, his backstory and everything is still kind of mysterious. Like, you don't quite know how old and stuff he is, but you do know that he's, like, he's seen some real shitty stuff, and that's why he's kind of like very off-put and wants to be distant from people and stuff. And like, one of the things is that you see this in the movies, that there's like a love triangle between him and Jean Grey and Cyclops, and that technically exists in the comics, but what it's more like is Wolverine has feelings for Jean Grey more out of like respect, but also he like doesn't feel like he is worthy or would be able to be in a healthy relationship with her, which I thought was kind of an interesting dynamic, that he's like,
yeah,
oh, I do really like her, but like also I can't be in a relationship because I'm a weird short Wolverine man. So I mean, there's some fun stuff in there.
I'm swole Danny DeVito, damn it.
Mm-hmm. You know, he's actually based off of some random hockey player in, I think, Animal House. I could be wrong, but it was one of those weird obscure it was one of those weird comedies from the 70s.
No, I think I know what you're talking about. Slapshot.
I think so, yeah.
That was a hockey movie. Like, there's no hockey. I don't think there's hockey.
Yeah, I don't think there is hockey in Animal House.
It might be a Slapshot.
Yeah, I think it was one of the National Lampoon movies or something like that. But yeah, there's like, and he's not even like a main character or anything.
Was it a Paul Newman movie?
I think so. I forget.
Yeah,
but
then it was Slapshot.
It's just funny to see that, you know. And I hope that if Disney, when they inevitably do reboot the X-Men, they give them more love than the past Fox movies did. Not to say the Fox movies didn't give them a lot of love, but it would be cool to see a more comic faithful adaptation of them. But I don't know if that's going to happen. So
I don't know if you're going to get that from Disney.
I don't know either. But one thing I can say is that I finally dived into the Scott Pilgrim books, and they're a lot of fun. I enjoyed them a lot. What was funny about them, because I always thought the premise of it was that he got zapped into a video game or something like that. That's not how it is at all. But like, those comics are just so wacky, and you get a really good Netflix show as a sequel to it. So, even though the X-Men probably don't have a great, comic book to TV adaptation, Scott Pilgrim does. So that's a good fun thing. So, if you're interested in those comics, they are weird, and the first volume is a bit, I don't know if dated's the right word to use, but it's a bit off-putting. I mean, like, a big plot point of those is that he's dating a 17-year-old when he's 23. And, like, it's just, it's surprising how well it did age, considering it was made in, like, 2006 on, like, an online website, I think. But the thing with it that I like is how accurately they depict just people just hanging out and having fun and joking with each other. They do a really good job of that. But it also has, really wacky stuff, like they all have superpowers and they're all fighting and stuff. And even though they all have superpowers, no one acts like it's a big deal. Like, none of them are superheroes, but, like, they can teleport or move at the speed of light and stuff like that. It's fun. I haven't played the game yet, but at some point I think I want to. So, if you haven't checked out Scott Pilgrim's Perfect Little World, now's a better time than any.
Okay. I won't and say I did.
Okay.
I don't know.
So you own the game, so...
I do, on Switch.
Mm-hmm.
That was more out of a game preservation thing, because
Yeah.
I heard it got taken down from, like, Xbox Live Arcade.
Yeah, that was, like, one of the...
That was, like, a big deal that people made. And it's like, I'm not really interested in, like, the main, like, thing that it's based on, but it's like, to get a copy and, like, hold on to it, like, I would do that.
Yeah.
Unless, like, it's just, I open the case and it's like, here's a download code, buddy.
Yeah.
Like, but it's from Limited Run, so hopefully it's not like that.
I'm pretty sure it's not.
Unless it's the Castlevania Advanced PC version.
Yep.
Oh, that was...
Another notable comic book I should mention is I read Batman Hush. That was another one that's on the back burner. I didn't realize so much of, like, famous Batman art comes from that comic book. Like, if you just Google image pictures of Batman, you'll probably see art from that comic. And I also didn't know how old it was. It's from, like, 2001. And yet it has a lot of stuff in there that affected a lot of the other movies and video games that came out after it. So it's not a perfect Batman story. Like, Batman has some, like, pretty dumb, edgy dialogue, like, Clark Kent, Superman, America's Boy Scout. We used to make the perfect duo. He's a good guy. Unfortunately, I am not.
Who's the writer for that?
I want to say it was Jeff Loeb.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That wasn't that Frank Miller thing that you showed me.
No, it wasn't. So the Frank Miller one that he's talking about is All-Star Batman and Robin World's Finest.
Oh.
And some of the best Batman art, some of the worst Batman writing. And it's still not the worst Batman comic that Frank Miller has made.
Yeah, that's weird.
I have a theory that I believe that Frank Miller has never liked Robin, and he hasn't liked Batman in a very long time. I think he liked Batman when he wrote Dark Knight Returns, but I don't think he liked him when he wrote Dark Knight Strikes Again.
Oh boy, I'm looking forward to that.
That is... The only reason to read that comic book is just because it's almost like a historical artifact. Like that whole... I'm talking about Dark Knight Strikes Again. That whole comic can just be summarized as Frank Miller is pissed off and hates comic books. Like, I think when it first came out, he had like some online blog or something. And at one point, Batman gets these like giant gauntlets that he uses to fight Superman. And he uploaded a picture of Batman wearing those gauntlets, flipping the bird. Just because he knew, like, the website was just going to be like, Frank Miller, like, what the hell is this?
He's a national treasure.
He's a national treasure. There's no denying that.
Oh, boy. All right. So if that's all you have for
Yep.
books, okay.
That's all I have.
It's got one more it's genre thing for me. English is the first and the second language sometimes. No. We're just music and soundtracks. Going through it real quick. Silent Hill 4 OST. Listen to it all the way through. I didn't really mean to discount the like the actual in-game tracks when I talked about it for our Halloween recommendations, because there are some good ones. I haven't listened to the other games like soundtracks in a long time, so I wouldn't know how to compare them, but there's still some good ones. Don't listen to them late at night or you might freak yourself out. There's this one that I like to call the Demonic Frog song that was like kind of screwing with me at one point.
That's fun.
Yeah. I think it was called like Remodeling or something. And then of course, Black Sabbath's Tear album. Cannot recommend enough the first track off that album, Anno Mundi. And then the rest of the album is like actually, I'm thinking it's actually pretty darn good. Like maybe some of the higher peaks in that album are better than Headless Cross. Like the higher peaks in Headless Cross, but just because it's such a weird mishmash of different themes, like it's not as good as an album overall. It's weird to say that, but like if you just took the A side of that album and then the first 3 tracks of the B side and each had those and like made them into an EP, then took the remaining 2 and made them into like a single, you'd be good. Why didn't they do that? Oh yeah, because they're Black Sabbath, even though they're not like, you know, the Black Sabbath you remember. They're not your granddaddy's Black Sabbath. So, like, it's just weird how music works. It's like when you got a name with a band with a name that's recognized and you got, like, a good group of musicians together, oh, you're not going to make an EP. You're making a full-on album. And even if most of it, like, doesn't make sense put together or if a lot of it's filler, like, the more and more I go on, it's like albums, like, a lot of albums would work better as like EPs or like broken up into multiple like EPs. That's saying that's a rant for another day. Another album that I checked out though is Alice Cooper's Raise Your Fist and Yell. It's one of his more metal centric albums. It's got some really good like heavy tracks on it. Probably the most notable one off of it, because we talked about the movie that shares its name as Prince of Darkness, which you actually hear in the movie. Like one of the characters is listening to it on his Walkman. And also, Alice Cooper makes an appearance in that movie.
That makes me happy. I love Alice Cooper.
As a murder hobo. Which
really,
sounds about right.
Yeah, it's like really stretching his acting skills there.
Yeah. I don't think he speaks at all in it, but yeah, he just kind of like shows up. He's like, oh, there he is.
Mm-hmm.
And then like he's only in like a couple of scenes and then he like disappears for the rest. It's funny. And then another one that I'll mention is called Roses on White Lace, only because it reminds me more of Dwight Fry than friggin' Alice Cooper's other song, The Ballad of Dwight Fry, even though I think that might be a mistake because Fry isn't spelled the same way as the actor's name, so it might be a different Dwight Fry.
That's weird.
Yeah. Rob doesn't get the joke.
No, I don't get the joke. I'm very tired
I don't know. They left off the E for some reason when they named it that, but
yeah,
because Dwight Fry is the guy who plays like all the sidekicks or like the henchmen in like the classic Universal horror films.
Oh, okay.
He's Fritz the Hunchback in Frankenstein.
I thought that was.
He's Renfield in Dracula.
Yeah, I thought that was Peter Lorre.
No, I'm pretty sure that's him. Are you thinking of a different? Are you sure you're not thinking of one of the Hammer?
I could be. I could be wrong. I thought it was.
Because you might be. Because I thought Peter Lorre was in one of those. I thought it was Dwight Fry. He's definitely Renfield in Dracula.
Mm-hmm.
The Universal Dracula.
You're probably right because you've seen those movies more recently than I have.
Yeah. And he plays another henchman in Bride of Frankenstein. I think he's in one of the other films. But yeah. So yeah, it's a pretty good album. I'll have to listen through it again. I might recommend some tracks off of it next year for Halloween because there's some more horror-centric.
Mm-hmm.
songs off that album. And then, do I want to talk about these other ones? Maybe not really. Listen to some more Rocky Erickson. Some of his other stuff, other than stuff off of Evil One, and it turns out he sits on he would sit on songs for like a decade before he would record them in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
So like you'll find live recordings of like some of his songs that that would end up on the Evil One, but they're from like 5 years before.
Yeah,
or they were recorded with a different version of his band. There's one called "Goodbye Sweet Dreams." It was recorded in 2011. And it's like a very, very somber sounding song. Like it doesn't sound like one of his psychedelic rock songs. I mean, it has a little bit of that DNA, but you don't really get it. Still a good song, but I found a live version of it online on YouTube, actually, from 1976 from a live recording. And it is much more like one of his, like, what you would expect from him. And it's awesome.
Oh, that's so cool.
But the recording quality is really bad, but it's still an awesome song. I kind of want to go through and maybe try to like fix it up if I can, but I'm not that good with audio editing.
Do you know if there's any like working tapes or other versions of?
I don't know.
Yeah,
because like as far as I know, it didn't appear on any of his live albums.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't really looked into it. That's the only one I could find online on YouTube. I think if it was, there would be, because the only other version of it that exists, there's like a acoustic version that he did in an interview. But other than that, there's like, and that sounds more like the 2011 studio version.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's awesome.
That is cool.
Yeah, I would if
it's a fun rabbit hole.
It is.
We need someone with more spare time than us to.
Yeah, or like, and I'm not the biggest friggin' fan of AI, and I know it's kind of a bad thing to like talk bad about the Kubrick on the internet, but because it'll come for me someday, and I say, bring it on, you friggin'. I don't know.
I've seen Terminator. I know that we win in the end.
I fought Shodan, but I haven't beaten Shodan yet.
Yeah.
I've actually, I didn't beat Am. I forget how I have no mouth and I must scream ends.
I beat Portal 2. All of these things we've been mentioning, I think the robots do win in the end.
I don't know. But getting back to that, like the one use I would really like to have for AI, if I only use it once as a legitimate tool, or I guess it's replacing skill in this aspect, so damn me, is to clean up that audio. But I don't think it's at a point yet where it'll do it in a way where it'll sound good. Because the instrumentals are pretty decent sounding, but the vocals, you don't hear them as much.
Yeah.
To bring them out more, and yeah, that would be... You just need to, like, have someone with, like, a lot of time on their hands make a re-recorded version of it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Cool.
Oh, and then just a quick thing. U2 re-recorded a lot of their songs. I think they did this last year. One of my favorite songs of theirs is Until the End of the World, and they did it on this new album, Songs of Surrender. I don't like it. It's got no life to it, and it makes me sad. Again, Greg, you can go further on that because you saw him live, and you probably listened to that album more than I did. But I think you agreed with me on that one. All right, damn. Holy shit on a brick.
All right, I'll say one music thing. The band Gunship, which is a band that I thought was discontinued years ago, they released a new album this year, and I didn't really like it. But also, I didn't really like their other two albums when they came out. So, like, I guess their music is kind of an acquired taste, because I used to think their music sucked, and then I just listened to it a bunch, and I was like, actually, I think I like this. So I still don't know if I think the band is good or if I just have brain damage, but they did release an album, which means they're still around, which is cool. It's cool when little indie bands like that are still alive.
Do you like individual tracks from them?
I do like individual tracks from them.
So it's playing into what I was saying earlier. Sometimes, like, and I know their case, they're like a smaller band, it sounds like, but like, sometimes, like, just go with an EP, guys. If you got like two, like a small handful of good songs, like don't dilute it in shit.
Yeah.
Or
the thing was, they always had really
stuff.
cool music videos, and they did release one music video for their new album, but it wasn't that cool. At least I don't remember it being very cool. But they had some other fun ones back in the past. But I mean, who knows? I mean, the album came out this year. They could be still working on music videos.
Alrighty.
Yep. So wow, 2023.
There was a lot of shit.
Yeah, like this was I've seen a lot of people online that were like, "Oh, finally, 2023's over. I can live now." First of all, you should never be going into an election year being like, "Oh, finally, this will be the good year." Let's have a quick history recap. Like 2016, absolutely bat crap insane year in a bad way. 2020, need I say more? Like 2024 forecast. What does it say that the Magic 8 Ball always says? Like, outlook not good. Like, but hey, who knows? I could be wrong. Maybe I'll be completely wrong, and this year will be amazing. Let's hope so.
Yeah, my outlook for like media and new stuff is not very like high, but at the same time, most of what I've been doing, like this past year, it's been checking out old stuff that I actually like think I'll be interested in.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's something I would want to recommend to more people if like, you know, more people like listen to us. It's like, don't depend on new stuff to like get you by. Like there is old stuff from
I mean, all of the games we basically talked about were all old games. I mean, all of the new games for this year we talked about were just re-releases.
Right.
And that's not to say there weren't any good games that came out this year. It's just more interested in the re-releases to be able to check out the older stuff.
And like I said, like the new RoboCop game, that looked good to me. I just didn't have a chance to check it out.
Mm-hmm.
Same with, well, I guess System Shock Remake is a remake and Remake 4 is a remake, but like it's like not everything, like I can live with like new things not being good to an extent, but like sometimes you gotta do that for your sanity, and I think that helped me out a lot this past year, because I just have been gotten, like, just the new stuff that comes out just makes me feel, like, not optimistic.
I'm out of touch. I'm out of time. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that.
Right. But that being said, it's like, I don't know if there are any movies or any games coming out that I'm looking forward to.
There's one... I think there's two things I'm looking forward to, but the big one for this coming year that I'm looking forward to is Furiosa, a Mad Max sequel prequel. And the last Mad Max movie I thought was perfect. This movie looks like it's doing the same thing, which is just big cars and big explosions.
And not focusing on Mad Max.
Not focusing on Mad Max, but hey, when you've got that many trucks with that many wheels, I'll make an exception.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that one. I didn't care much for Fury Road, but I would like to watch it again at some point.
I need to watch it again too. I've only seen it once.
Have you seen any of the classic ones?
I've seen bits and pieces on TV.
Yeah, the first one's weird.
Yeah. My family has this weird thing where I'm the only person in my family who likes Fury Road.
Oh.
And like I said, I haven't really seen the originals.
I didn't even know Greg or anyone had seen it.
Yeah, so I think all the rest of my family, like this is including like even like aunts and uncles and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Like they've seen the originals and they hate Fury Road. And I'm like, how can you hate Fury Road? Like it has the doof wagon in it. The doof wagon is awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like what we were talking about earlier with like the thing from another world. It's like some people prefer it because that might have been the first one they saw.
Yeah.
Or they have more of a nostalgic feel for it.
And I'm sure the older ones have more like actual like character stake and stuff, when Fury Road is literally just action. But when the action's that good, why would you be mad, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, some people are also bummed they didn't get what's his name back, Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
Which I think was a kind of a dick move, because wasn't he like turning his career around at that point or trying to get back into things?
I think he was, but I also get that he was probably a little too old to be doing a lot of stunts. But I don't know if what's his face was doing
Tom
stunts.
Hardy.
Tom Hardy, and Tom Hardy wasn't a bad choice, I don't think.
They could have done better. They could have gotten like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know who would. I wish they would have gotten someone that looked a little bit more like Mel Gibson.
Mm-hmm.
But no one's coming to mind. Well, actually, thinking of Australians,
Yeah,
Ray Stevens.
yeah.
If they would have had a better script and like made Max have more of like a thing, like he would have been good. Like I could have believed that. Like
I don't believe for a second that Anya Taylor-Joy grows up to become Charlize Theron, because Charlize Theron is from Earth, and Anya Taylor-Joy, I'm not sure. She just doesn't look human to me. I'm not saying she's ugly. I'm just saying she doesn't look human.
I know who that. I think I know who that is, but I don't know who that
I'll
is.
show you a picture of her.
Okay.
Remember how I said it was that lady who looked human earlier? I said like that was the second one. Anya Taylor-Joy. She just doesn't look. There's just something off. Like look at that. Like her face, like the shape of it, her eyes are like too far apart. I think like she looks like an alien. And like she's not an ugly alien, but she doesn't look human. Like there's something wrong there, right? You see that.
It's the damn cheekbones.
Yeah, like what are those cheekbones? Humans don't have those bones. Like what's going on?
I don't know. I don't know anymore. Rob, damn it. So what were we talking about?
We were talking about stuff that we're looking forward to in 2024.
Okay, well, I'm gonna say to hell with new shit. Okay, never mind. No. So I'm looking forward to hearing more about the Metal Gear Solid 3 remake as well as the Max Payne remakes. Even though I'm not as like confident in the latter because the voice actor Max frickin' Payne passed away. It's like, who are they going to replace him with? I hope they don't do it with AI. It's going to sound weird.
The other one I'm looking forward to is Silent Hill 2 remake,
which was supposed to come out last year, I thought.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if that is anything.
I'm not optimistic about that one.
Yeah.
Either. There was news that came out that it sounds like they might be changing things around, which sounded like would be the complete opposite case when they announced it first. I don't know. Yeah. And there still hasn't been any gameplay footage from it, which is disturbing me. There's been like descriptions of it or something, but like that one I'm not confident in until I'm shown otherwise. Like I'm not confident. But as far as like stuff I'm gonna check out, I mean, I've mentioned several things already, like System Shock. Want to actually play RoboCop Rogue City, Remake 4. Get around to that. The Hitman series, probably gonna continue with the World of Assassination trilogy, and then Plutonia on the Doom side, and then finally finishing Knee Deep in Z-Doom. Yeah,
I'm looking forward to trying to make my way through the Metal Gear Solid trilogy. See how far I go. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
what'll happen with those. I mean,
they even release 4 on anything.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it will happen eventually, but who knows when.
That one they're going to really need to work on. But there might be some issues getting that from PS3 to PC. Because it ran like shit on PS3. Holy hell. Hideo Kojima, like, you should have put it on PC back in the day. You dork. It's like he didn't put it on Xbox 360 because apparently it would have taken too many DVDs. And like just looking at how it like chugs on PS3, it's like I don't know. Who cares?
Yeah.
On the board game side of things, I think this year is going to be a good year for Axis and Allies fans. I guess that is some new stuff. Renegade is going ham. They already started by bringing back 1914, which I guess is like still available to purchase. Like you can still buy it online as of like recording this. So I guess they brought it back permanently, but I don't know. They got some new stuff and some re-releases coming out this year. That'll be cool. North Africa, maybe some other thing that we get to vote on. Guadalcanal. Yeah, and probably a re-release of Anniversary Edition, which is probably one of the best ways to play the game and not do global. Yeah, they're going to have a bunch of news on, like, this month. Like, I think 18th, they're going to have, like, another live stream. I'm going to try to catch that, or, like, at least catch the news. As far as other stuff, I'm going to continue my deep dives into Westerns. You know, classic sci-fi and horror. Charles Bronson, Vincent Price, Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee, all that stuff. Because I still got a stack of movies left over from the past year that I haven't gotten through. And I'm definitely going to be trying to introduce you and Greg to some more Westerns and stuff. Some other, like, any other movies that I think you'd enjoy. Because we haven't done, like, any, like, as many movie reviews.
No, we haven't.
And I think it'd be fun to do for, like, stuff that either only one of us has seen and the other gets introduced to.
Mm-hmm.
Or, yeah, because if there's not, like, any new movies coming out, might be a better way of doing it.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. So, I mean, we'll just have to wait and see how the year goes.
Yep. And, yeah, like, I also want to say thank you to all of you who subscribed this year.
Yeah, this was an insane year for subscribers, because, I mean, we were close to 400 subscribers at the beginning of last year. But to hit 520, which is what we're about right now,
yeah,
that surprised me. I mean, we're averaging 200 views a day. Like, that's just... I mean, I know that's not a lot, but I mean, at the same time, it kind of is, you know? I mean, like,
yeah,
it's more than I expected, and it's surprising that that's happened, and I'm super happy that people enjoy. The big thing that's been happening recently is the Clone Wars videos that I made have become a lot more popular. Not only have they become a lot more popular, and I think this has a bit to do with it, but I've seen a lot of other people on YouTube making similar videos, which, when I made those videos back in 2020... I was the only one, basically. Like, no one was talking shit on that show except for me. And now, look, I was right. Everybody agrees with me now. Like, the like bar, we have more likes on that video than dislikes, which I never thought was going to happen.
Yeah.
Because I was being mean in those videos. And I feel bad. I kind of want to go back and remake those videos, because a lot of the stuff in there was just, like, goofy nitpicks.
Yeah.
Just for the fun of it.
I mean, that's kind of what I did with my old, like, food for thought videos.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
well, that's how all of our old videos were. We were just doing, like, goofy nitpicks because we didn't care, because we didn't have that many subscribers or anything, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't want anybody to get the misconception that I hate Mick Gordon from, like, my Doom videos. And, like, some of those I wanted to go back and redo, to be honest, too. But, like, more or less, I want to think moving forward, like, as far as, like, what the next Doom game would be, not, like, to say, oh, this is what I should have said for Doom Eternal. Like, no, like, I don't know.
Also, yeah, I guess that's another thing that could be happening. An announcement for either a new Doom or a new Quake, because we know id's working on something, and we know it's a shooter.
Doom Year Zero.
Yeah, Doom Year Zero. I first thought it was Doom Ground Zero, and I was like, oh no. 9/11 Doom? Oh no. No. But then I just read it wrong, so.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what happens next, but again, obviously I really hope it's Quake, because I don't see how you can follow up Doom Eternal.
You mean the Ancient Gods?
Oh, jeez. I know how you can follow up the Ancient Gods, but...
By pretending it doesn't exist.
Yeah, by pretending. That's what I've been doing. That's what I've been doing for a long time.
I still haven't beaten it, and I don't know. I just don't care. I hate to say that. It's like, I just
The Ancient Gods kind of killed Doom Eternal, in my opinion. I guess we've never done the review, but here's the review for the Ancient Gods. This is way out of date, but
500 sub special.
500 sub special. Here you go, the Ancient Gods review.
It sucks.
It burns you out. Like,
yeah.
It pushes you to the limit, and by the time you finish, you don't want to play Doom Eternal anymore. Like, yeah, that's my review of it.
For part 1, for sure. Like, part 2, it's just like, it's...
Yeah.
I don't know. There was some balance that they didn't get right between the two.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the new stuff. Like, I don't know if I even like the new enemies they had in part 2, but, like, gosh dang. I think they should have thought about it more and made it into a legitimate sequel
Yeah.
instead of a DLC. Even though they had planned that from the beginning, that was a bad idea.
And I mean, I like the fact that it is a DLC, and I don't think the DLC costs that much right now. I mean, if you're buying...
It's standalone too, right?
Yeah, but I mean, if you buy a complete Doom Eternal right now, I mean, you're getting a game with... I'm trying to think how many levels altogether. I mean,
it's like 16 in the main game?
16,
like that?
And 16 or 15 in the main game, plus an extra 7 or 8 with the Ancient Gods.
And those are longer ones too.
Yeah, I mean, so you're getting a nice long game, which I appreciate, but at the same time, like you have to... I started the Ancient Gods with a controller, and I had rubber on the thumbsticks, and by the time I beat it, there was no more rubber on the thumbsticks of that controller.
Okay.
So, yeah. Thanks, Hugo Martin. Freaking punk. You short little Canadian.
What?
I have no idea.
I don't think he's either of those.
Yeah, I don't think he is either. I don't actually have anything against but Canadians, get out of here.
Yeah. Even though you talked up their freaking fictional versions of them. Friggin' Scott Pilgrim. Get that hipster shit out of here, you friggin' hipster shit.
I didn't know the word hipster existed back then, but they use it in those books.
Oh, yeah. That they do?
Yeah.
That's funny. They used it in King of the Hill. That's how I got introduced to it. They're hipsters, Hank. They walk slow because they got nowhere to go. Because friggin' Peggy was gentrifying Mexican neighborhoods by selling them to houses to hipsters.
Oh, jeez.
They put salmon in the fish tacos. That's a show I need to watch. Okay.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, the friggin' Rusty Shackelford. Johnny Hardwick, damn it. Okay, so we'll probably do the other half of this in another time.
Yeah.
Holy Moses, 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Let us know what you checked out this year, either if it was new to you or new in 2023, and let us know what you thought about if you checked out some of the same stuff. What you thought in English is still a first and second language. Rob, what?
Thank you so much for listening. Everybody, let's have a good night's sleep.
It's bedtime, Jimmy.
Yep. Man, I usually do better this late. Oh well. Take care, guys.
Yeah, have a good one. Bye.
Bye.